Something's. Okay. So. Those of you who are. Here, what I'm doing is I'm opening up Zoom, but now it should be mainly you guys, but actually Julie is on already. So here's the way it works. As soon as I connect and admit you, you have to go in and turn your sound off. So you have to say the music first, they got it. And go and disconnect your sound. Here. And remember, you don't have to have this one yet. Click on the arrow. Say we do the same thing on that one. All right. Okay, so hi Julie.
Hi.
Some new people here in person, so I'm helping them set up, but I see what you said. So cool. Thank you.
Also, did you see the note about the earthquake alarm at 10:20 on Thursday?
That's true. Today, I thought it was at 10.
10, yeah, something like 10:20 on Thursday, so.
Quick alarm. I need you to connect to Zoom, so first, but not to Zoom. Okay, so everyone pay attention to me. Those of you who have, yeah, you keep trying. Okay. Those of you who have attended here already know that, oh. Okay. That, I doubt that that's your. That's your. Okay, because usually, oh, okay. When you come here, the reason I have you connect to these big computers, some of you it's your computers that you. And for some, and the ones who brought your laptops, it's because I want you all to be connected to this Zoom. So that all the people at home can see you too. So in the Zoom, all 26 of us are on it. Does that make sense? So they can, so the class can have a wholeness. Otherwise, they see each other and you see each other and it's like two different. But if you're asking a question, they see you're asking a question and such and so forth. So even if you're going to use your laptop, I need you to connect. So to get in, you need to put in your username and password, right? Oh, it's going in. Okay, great. Now, the next thing you need to do, you need to go find my email, right? So on these computers to do that, you need to go online to Pipeline. So open Safari. And you're all set. You have to say, yeah, say join. They got it. Go to that thing. Perfect. All right, so go to Safari and go to yeah, one of those two. And then you have to remember that your Pipeline remembers the numbers. You click on that and it gets remembered.
Oh, which one? Just click
But
on it?
just click on that.
Okay.
On the top, yeah, and it goes in. Perfect. Now you can just hit log in.
Oh,
All right, so the first time you ever come to it, so just go to the top here and write sbcc.edu. Okay, and this is the only part I'm showing you, so you don't have to go up here and write sbcc.edu. And hit enter or return. And then hit the P for Pipeline on the left side. And put in your username and password. Click on P. There it is.
put in our,
Put in again, you know, I'm telling them, you go in there and hit email. And then email. Okay. All right, it's working. And I put go ahead and say this is your usual password. You can have it memorized and go to your email. And you'll see this morning's email. Well, I sent the Zoom link, right? So then click on the Zoom link. And okay, so find my email. Yeah, so open it by clicking on the site. Yeah, and then this is yesterday's message, the whole thing. But that's okay, you can go to that one, I have it, or today you have the Zoom link, it's always called Zoom link.
That's in the box, but
Click on the word instead of over there, no, never that, exactly.
Oh.
So that, it helps you lose it, that's for the meeting, so no. All right, so say join meeting, yeah, the first time you ever do it, it will say. All right, so now email.
Oh,
That's your pipeline email.
yeah, I thought it was right there. So
Yeah.
there are those.
Exactly. This is your first time here, it says it's kind of, and there I am. So I know I'm using link for today's.
Right, I got it in my other.
And then, yeah, those are trying to know how to get it here, because
Yeah.
you don't have to.
Okay, so is it there?
That'll link you in, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Choosing for twice, which one do I? All right, so I know that you wanted to learn how to do this on your computer, so you had the chance, but since you are here, like if you were at home, this is how you would have to attend, so if you want to practice having it on, but otherwise we do not need to connect it. Here you can just do your work. And then we go to this one, so if you want, you can disconnect from this one. Like this is your. Yeah. All right, so once you have said join meeting, then I should have you here waiting. Which here's Mary, so I guess now. Have you said, okay, you're connected? Good, did my phone video? Yes, and. Okay, the first time it says installation, after that, it won't need it anymore, after that, just say join with video. Now. And then it says that wait, because I need to let you in. So I will come over here and let you both in. Cool. Hi, Mary. I'm working with a couple of new students who are figuring out how to join us on the school computers, which I'll be with you guys in a minute. Yeah. Well, it's not okay, but you first have to say yes, and then got it, and then say got it. And then immediately go to that arrow next to the thing and say leave computer audio. Perfect, so now you're set up. And if you want to see the whole class, click on this view. And there you go. There you go. And then everyone in the school okay, say join with video. And now I need to let you in. And everyone at home will be joining us a little bit later today because of the whole first day thing. Okay, and then the moment I let you in, Milton,
get out here.
go ahead and say. You got it? And then go down here to this little arrow and say. Yep. Perfect. You'll get it done. All right, if you want to see the whole class, go up here to view and say view gallery. And you too, if you prefer to. Okay. Up here to view, just so you can see the whole class. You can also see the class up there. But most of the times when I'm in the middle of teaching, I'll have that off and you guys can see what's happening. So over here, you can leave. So you leave. But I'm not. You are. So this is your computer now. So now you work on this one, this is where you want to learn to work, but you get to watch the class and see what you do with it. Yeah, so if you ever decide to join from home, then you would have to have some here, you'd have half of your screen, which was at first it was being frustrating, but at least you know how you would do it. Now, because you're here, you can watch the class here and do the work here. Okay. All right. So now those of you who just joined us, you can turn on your laptops. And then connect to Wi-Fi. using again your pipeline management password. Yes. Yes. Or however you roll up. You use your, do you use your password? or your email?
No,
Oh, it's asking.
yeah, that's
Use password. It says use password or touch ID.
Oh,
And then
okay.
you're set up. It's fine.
Oh,
You need to tell
thank
your
you.
computer that it's allowed.
Thank you.
All right, good. So now you can set up your laptop to work. That's what you want to do, right?
Yeah, now I'm getting spoiled with the computer.
What's that?
Now I'm getting spoiled with the computer.
You're welcome to use both,
I'm
but
gonna try it, 'cause I'm gonna be-
it's good for sure. This class is about handling your files and stuff. So people who have their own computers will be able to handle their own files. Now for people who do not have their own computer here, Maria, Rod, and Milton, I will ask you to download some files. So I'm gonna take, if you all want to do it on your school computers, just to have files on your school computer that you haven't up until now, please do this. But for sure, I need Maria, Rod, and Milton to do, I'm gonna show it on screen. I need you guys to get some files, to put some files in your computer. I know how last class we did, they were empty. So I'm gonna have us download some files that you can use. So for sure, Rod, Maria, and Milton, follow the steps. So I need you to open Safari and go to well, you already went to pick up my email. Go to SBCC, already that went there. So actually go. I'm the one who needs to go there. We went there to open my email, right? So you guys are probably sitting here in this thing that has your email on your Wi-Fi. So I need you to go back to where it says Home Pipeline and click on that one. Okay, so go back to the tab that says Pipeline. And then go to Student. And then choose Student Resources. Now, guys at home, I'm having them, let me just share with you guys what I'm doing so you're not wondering what's happening. I'm taking them to our school handout folder. And this is in part because we have 2 new people who haven't yet used our files and folders and recordings and all that. And also as a reminder to everyone, both home and here, how to get to them. So first of all, I'm noticing that only Julie went into the chat. So Mary is the only other one who's at home right now. Please go to the chat. And everyone else who is here in the Zoom later, remind me you guys to go to the chat and give a little aloha. Okay. Now, oh, there you go. By the way, Martha, you don't necessarily need to be on Zoom on your computer. If you were home, you would have to.
Oh,
But since you're here, you can be on Zoom in that one and just use your computer in this one. Okay. I think you can just say. There you go. And then you should update it for whenever you use it. Okay. All right. So now what I am doing is, yeah. So now I want everyone to go to Student Resources, and where I am telling you to go right now, everyone should go here with me. It's because this is where the class files are. Now, the only people who need to download the files that we're about to use are the people who have no files on their computer, because that's what we're going to be using in this class. We're going to be using files. So once you're here, head over to the right side of this window. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so you can see it, and hit on Google Drive. This is for accessing our class files, including our class recordings. And then here on the left side, you'll see my drive is automatically what shows up. My drive is your own drive. It's any files you have in your own drive. So if you've used it up until now, you have a lot of files in there. But if you've never used it, it should be empty, right? So can you go to student resources, go to the Google Drive? So what I'm showing you is how to get to the class files. How to get back. What's that?
All the pipeline.
It's in that tab right there. Okay, now. Shared drives is where you need to go. These are your files, whatever files you have and own. I have nothing to do with them, but under shared drives, you will find drives that people have shared with you. And I have shared with you. And suddenly I'm gotta make sure that I put a couple new people in there. Oh. You should be seeing Mac intro level 1 and 2. Do you guys see it? Because if you don't, then go ahead and go to student resources. Google Drive. I'm suddenly having a moment of, did I go to shared drives? Oh. Go to shared drive. And you know what? I did not put, okay. I'm sorry, I did not put you guys in, so give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I forget that I had. I can't believe it. Sorry, I stopped here for a second. So good thing I'm sending you guys here. Semester 43200. Give me 1 second. I need to give you guys access to this folder. And
Progress.
okay, one more thing. Okay, so I apologize, but if you're new to the class, it'll take a few minutes because I just set you guys up. 1 second. There you go, you have it. So go ahead and double click on that. That's fine. You're trying to sign in, yeah. So since it's, okay, since it's the first time you're clicking on your own computer on this whole pipeline thing, wants to make sure this is the kind of, you need to put your username. pipeline.sbcc.
Oh, okay, so this is a personal. thing.
Right,
Putting in, that's the
same thing that you do by.
or am I putting any business?
Basically your username.
Username, okay.
At, like it's an email at pipeline.sbcc. So you're at.
Oh, okay.
No, that's pipeline.
Right.
Fine, you have a nice.
Fine. C-I-E.
SB. Dot.
Yes.
And then the say continue, that's the screen.
Five
So
external
now,
hard drives,
this
plugged
is
in
the shared
fine.
drive that I'm sending.
One quick order,
And then there we go. Save. Okay. And this is it, this is the class.
So I just click on this.
All right,
So.
yeah, so just, go hold on. Since everyone is on a different step, today's confusing because there's people who already have it, people who don't, people who aren't even. So everyone is feeling a little bit, that's fine. When I can take the whole class together, it's not so confusing, but since I've got 5 people in 5 situations, I apologize. I'm one by one tending to each person. But you know that as soon as we are done with this step, we all go together, right? So anyone who's feeling nervous or stressed right now, relax. I will one-on-one take care of you.
Easy.
Just give it a
Chill.
minute. Here's the thing, if you have your own computers here, okay, now let me talk to the class. What time is it? People are about to start joining us. See, there we go. They're beginning to join us. It's 9:30. So let me talk to the whole class now for a second. Let me stop my share. You guys, it's fine wherever you are, but I just want to say hi, Suzanne. I don't know if Suzanne can hear me yet. I'm gonna put this here. All right, so I'm noticing that the camera isn't very much pointing at me today. And there we go. All right, ish. And this one I haven't joined with my computer yet. Okay, so when I want the group to see me, so okay, so when I want the group in at school, I say at school or at home. Sometimes I say at work, I mean here because it's my job. When I want the school students to see the class, I'll put the Zoom here so you can all see everyone. But for the most part, this will be off because I'll be doing my demos here, okay? So, hi Suzanne. All right, so here's the deal. When you guys come into class, at home, you have your own computers, period. That's just the logical thing. At school, 4 of you brought their own computers. So when you do the work of this class, which is file management, do that on your own computers, okay? Because the whole point is, how do you handle your own files? Now, there's 3 people here who do not have their laptops, so they're using the school computers as their computers. For those 3 people in particular, the computers are empty, they have no files. So I have some files here in our resources for them to download, okay? So you who have files in your computers don't need to download these onto your laptops. Does that make sense? Now, if you want to have some more files to play around with, you're welcome to, but you're adding files that are not yours. So as long as your computers are not empty, don't download them. Now, some people with new computers do have empty computers. So to do this class, they'll need files, in which case, even if you're home or here, then you do need to download them. Does that make sense? I need you guys to have files. So because I was handling minutia of getting set up, and because half the class isn't here yet, I haven't really introduced Mac level 1. But in Mac level 1, we'll be doing a lot of file handling. What's on our computers? What's all that stuff that's on our desktop or not on our desktop? Where do I find files? Where are they? How come they are where they are? That kind of stuff. So that's why I need everyone to have files to handle versus last class. I didn't care so much if you guys had files or not. So this is also something I'm going to repeat when the rest of the people who join us come in. I'm going to invite them to download class files. Now, this is next conversation I'm about to have is only for people who are here at school. Okay, so give me a second. I'm seeing myself in the back. Oh, it's not the computer that's showing me way in the background. So Martha, since you're sitting kind of off, that's okay. Just there so people know. There we go. So people know that you're the person. So people, the whole point of this is for people to see everyone who brings that. Oh, I mean, I'm still in your background, but that's fine. All right. So here's the deal. People who are here, if you have your own laptop, you don't need to have Zoom on your laptop turned on, right? Because you're here, you have a second computer to watch the Zoom on, which is the school computer. So I'm going to ask you always to sign in the morning and then leave it there so you're part of the class, and because then that also helps for attendance for many reasons. But use your laptop as where you do the work. So when you respond to things, mine is set up this way, mine is set up that way, it's what's on your laptops, okay? Now, Some of you guys like doing it on both because, you know, you're a bit more ahead and it doesn't confuse you, then do it on both and learn different systems. You're welcome to do that. But if you're confused at all by stuff, it's like this one is like a TV that shows you the class. That's it. Okay? You need to set it up and forget it and then just focus on your computers, on your laptops. All right? Normally, I had originally thought maybe you could be on your laptops and you can share, if you're having a problem, you can share your screen, but that's pushing one extra. So we're gonna leave that at that. Now, for you three, you need files. Milton, Rod, and Maria.
That's kind of new. I don't
Yours
have
kind of
anything.
new, okay, so then do this portion on your laptop as well. Now, if anyone's gonna work on their school computers as well at some point, you can download files onto your school computers as well. You're welcome to do this step on your school computers. But the idea for laptop folders is that you'll be doing the class on your laptops, okay? So now, hopefully, at this point, on your computers that need files, okay? So mostly the school computers or any person at home who has no files, right? Double click on that Mac level 1 because you got them.
Oh.
And okay, just turn it from there. Okay. All right. So now, how about you click on Drive? Google Drive. Mhm. Double, yeah, click on it and then over here, go to shared drives on the left side. When it pops in. And then click on shared drive. No one under shared drives. Down, now you open this on that shared drive.
Oh, shared drive. Jesus.
That's fine. And then, and again, and now double click on that. Okay. All right, so here's what you need to do. Go here to where it says class files to download. Right click. Just right click on that folder. Don't open it.
So go, see, mine is, when you say right quick, what does that mean on that?
All right, so on a laptop, a right click is 2 fingers down. Yeah, and then go down to the download. So go over here to this. Google Drive. And
Tap on download.
shared drives. Yeah, 1 second. Click on that. Yes. So go over here to class files, right click, and then head down to download and click on the word download. So Rod, go here to class files to download. Yeah, class files to download and right click. And then click on download.
And then it says preparing downloads. Like just.
Yep. And it's just preparing download, so it'll come, so it's downloading, it says zipping on top, so that's perfect. Yeah. Go down to that. This is why you need to sit on the same computers, so if you ever decide, those of you who need files, to come and change computer, you won't have the files on that computer. So what, those of you who are moving around, who have your own laptops, you know, you're welcome to change, but don't take, that's why I kind of told you not that one, because they need, from now on, these files to follow the class. The rest of you guys can do whatever you want, because you're using the computers first. Okay, so it'll say, do you want to allow downloads on Zoom account? Say allow. Okay, and at this point, what's happening is you guys have gotten a bunch of files that I put up there to download, and anything that is online and downloads goes into the downloads folder of your computer. So now when we start working on all of the file management, you'll have all your computer files on the downloads folder, but I'll walk you through that. That's fine. The rest of you guys should have files all over your computer, because that's kind of what happens when you get here. You have using your computer for a while, you have files all over the place. Okay, so now here you have to say allow first time. Once you, the first time you ever do something on your computer, it asks you, can I really do this? Am I allowed? But now from now on, if you ever try to download stuff, it'll just no, because you just allowed it, right? Okay, cool. Now, Is everyone here both on Zoom and has the files? Okay, so, gonna minimize. Oh, I thought I had taken the share off. All right, so now we're all together. Hi, Suzanne and Mary and Julie. You guys are at home and I needed all this time to set things up with everyone who was either new to the class or didn't have class files or needed to know how to connect. That said, I told people to come at 10, but since today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people, but since 4 were already here, they knew the ropes. So it's been a bit faster, but most people won't join us until 10 because that's what my email said, right? So let me just spend a minute saying hi to Suzanne. I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, it's been since.
Hi, Deanna, were you going to cover how to access your recordings?
Oh, yes, thank you. And that's precisely, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me share that my screen now. So now is when you guys are gonna not see the class anymore here. And you have to look at your computer screens to see, because when now that I start teaching, I need to show, right? So for you guys to see students. All right, so now I'm going to share. The same folder that I just told everyone to go and download the class files. This is the same place where you guys, when you sign into Zoom, you notice that it said the class is being recorded. It's where you can find the class recording. Now, for those of 1 second, everyone at home, I first need to handle a minute here. Everyone who's at school, if you are just watching stuff, then sure, you're just watching it. But for those of you who are also working, so Milton, Rod, and Maria on this computer, now my Zoom is filling your screen. Look at your screen. So you need to hit your escape key to get that to move out of the way a little bit. And then, yeah, hit your escape key so that you can now work on your own other half, so to say, right? Move that over a little bit to the middle, yeah. And now here is your other half. Okay, now if you are not, you will be on Zoom. I need to change that.
So I put it minimize.
Yeah, but when I do samples, you have to. go
Yeah,
from there.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Which is fine, as long as. No, that's fine.
And I don't know how that got.
Okay.
I just thought it was. You know,
Yeah, no, but that's, no, it doesn't, that's what it is, but that's fine. I just didn't, so then, as long as it's connected in there, but
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. Just trying to make sure. What's that? You can close this one. And then, there you go. Thank you. You're welcome. Now, and you can follow the class here. Okay. I mean, you can follow the class there, but you can look over there. All right. It's interesting. And it's interesting because I'm accustomed to handling. In the past, when students were all here, they all had the school computers. When we switched to being at home, everyone had their home computers. So everyone was different. We're all the same. They had their home computers. Now I've got people at home with their home computers, people here who have both home computers and school computers. And my mind is boggling a little bit, but I'll get there. I'll catch up, and you guys, once I catch up, then I can help you guys catch up. Like at first, I'm seeing this for the first time. I'm going, okay, last class. So we've been in class for 6 weeks, for 6 sessions, 3 weeks. We did a whole bunch of work, but it wasn't on files. It was on your own devices, on the iCloud and all that kind of stuff. So it was easier, but now that we're really needing you to use the computers, the school computers, it's going to be a little bit different. And whenever I encounter something for the first time, I think about it, I figure it out with one person, and then I tell everyone. Okay. All right. Hopefully by the time this comes around 2 or 3 times, I'll be like the expert at this. All right, so Suzanne, to your question, here in the class files, the top left choice that you see there tends to be the Zoom class recordings. Okay, now, in this case, it's showing Zoom class recordings of summer 2. See that? So these are the old class recordings. So this is not going to work for the future. But when oh no, this is a Zoom class recordings. I just didn't change the class. So if you look at the dates, that's why the file name is wrong. But these were my Mac intro to the Mac. Okay, this is confusing. It's just that the file name was wrong. This was my intro to the Mac. Fall. So that was getting me confused. Okay, so this is the class that we just took. Okay, so for people who are new to the class today, whenever I mention that we just covered that, these are the 6 weeks that we had in the intro to the Mac class. We did a whole bunch of work with the system preference and the settings of your computers, your phones, and whoever has an iPad. All 3 devices, we've kind of connected and understood what's the difference, what's the similarities, how to use them both, how to set them up, et cetera, et cetera. So these are the recordings for those 6 classes. Now, none of these tell you what's in them, right? But if you took the class that day, you'll know what's in them. And if you missed the class that day, you'll know to go and watch it. So if you have to miss half a class, like Julie signed in this morning, but she had a doctor's appointment and she warned me that she'll go to her doctor's and run back. But she'll have to watch basically the whole middle of the class, right? So you'll come over here to your handouts and you'll go, oh, today is, for example, October 13th, and I missed half of my class, or I had to leave early. Or now and then you can actually be sick and not come. But if you have to go to doctors like that, or try to at least sign in for the portion that you can so you don't miss the whole thing. Anyway, so you'll come over here and you'll click on this link, and then you'll see another link in there that takes you to YouTube. You'll click on that and it'll take you to YouTube, and the entire class recording from the beginning to the end. So see, it's a 3.25. It's a 3.5 hour class recording because it's the whole time since I connect to Zoom. And so at the beginning, it shows up like this because it's before the Zoom connects. And then it starts, and this is me connecting, and then you have the full 3.5 hour class online. I'm gonna stop the sound. So here I am. This was last Thursday's class, right? So here's what I recommend. When you're in class, hi Owen. When you're in class and you see that I'm covering, if you missed the class, you have to sit and watch the whole thing. But say that I'm covering a topic that you know, I want to review this during the week, because even that you're in person now, you're going to have a recorded class, so you can review the iCloud settings or whatever. Then you can look at the time and you go, okay, it's 10 to 10, right? She's going over something really interesting. So write down, it's 11, so 10 to 10, 9:50 a.m. Then you go to the recording and you go, okay, the class started at 9, about 50 minutes in, she's talking about something really important. So you can go over here and you can kind of zoom over, see how this timeline tells you the time. So you can say, okay, so about 50 minutes in is about, yay, kind of click right there. And you've zoomed up to 50 minutes in, and then you're beginning, and then you go, well, maybe I need to go back up a little bit back and forth, but you don't need to sit through 3.5 hours if you missed a portion. All right, so if you missed only a little bit of it, you say, I just wanted to see the ending. So there you are, you're a minute, you know, you're at minute 3 hours, and you have another 25 minutes left to go here. Okay, so there's a ton of information here. At the very beginning, the first 10 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes of each class, it's set up with everyone who's here. So usually these recordings at the very beginning, I recommend moving straight to 10 or 15 minutes in, because that's what it's been taking us pretty much always to set up. Now, hopefully by now you're better with the system and we can get the setup down to less time each time, okay? And both Martha and Pam, who joined us today, seem pretty handy with their computers, so you'll, and you have your own, so you'll have it, you're gonna have it down pretty good. Okay, so this is how you watch the class recording.
You think you go to Google and you.
Yeah, so let me show you. Over here in the class recordings, of course, which is kind of ridiculous because you're already there. I have a recording that shows you how to do everything you just did, right? But I will email you this link today after class. After the first class is the only time that I send the first class recording, and I send this link. So if you guys go back to last session's first class, I sent you a link telling you how to do this. Now, since today is the first class for this class, and there's new people who are going to be joining us also online, I'm also going to be sending this email with this recording reminding you how to basically go to Pipeline, Google, student resources, Google Drive, shared drives, Mac, okay? And since you guys need to be on Pipeline anyway for other stuff, that's the way to get it. Now, if I want to go back to my class files, you'll see that this is full. This is last sessions. So what you're going to see at the end of today, when this recording comes in, you'll see a new one up there, which I already set up by alphabetical order, which is this one. It's just that it still has no file. So this is just a sample. So this is today's Mac level 1 HyFlex, and this is just showing you a link, but it's not the real one. So you'll have links in here, and it'll just make sure that you're looking at Mac level 1 class. Okay, so by the time I put the link in today, the real link, you will then come in here to the class files, and you should see it up in the top. See how it's already now up in the top, Mac OS level 1, and here's the intro to the Macs links. And here was the summer Mac level 2. This one still doesn't have stuff, okay? So if you don't see it at the top, because you've been opening other files, then all the class files are these, okay? And they're all by alphabetical order. So at the very, very bottom, you will find, if you keep Zoom class recording links. And so you'll have the Mac level 1, Mac level 2, and Mac and intro to the Mac. All of those will be here, okay? All right, so that's it. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here that you might, that we've already been using. These are the same files for Mac level 1, 2, and intro to the Mac. But I want to point out 2 that are new. I'm gonna wait till most new people join us. Let me see if there's any other new people on Zoom today. Yeah, I'm seeing a few new names. Regine didn't come today. She comes in person normally. I think she had guests. Okay. All right. Oh, no, yes, she had guests. All right. So any questions about the shared file folder and how to use it?
Yeah, I have a question, Deanna.
Yes,
I appreciate that you're going to send out the link. I've got my pipeline open, so it's student resources and then Google
It's-
Drive.
It's student resources.
Yeah,
yeah.
and open
then
Google Drive.
Once you click on student resources on the right, you go to Google Drive.
Yes.
To go to Google Drive, that takes you to My Drive, and you need to switch to shared drives. Just right there, shared drives.
So it's shared drives, not shared with me.
No, it's just shared drives.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear
Yeah.
whether I'm opening up my
Shared
drive or
drives.
shared drives.
Shared drives. And then
Okay.
I have a ton there, but you should have just this one. Mac intro level 1 and 2. You double click and there you are.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I just wanted to share with everyone that there's that there's a food pantry as of 2 weeks ago. It opened here at the Wake Center. It used to be that we had one only at the main campus. But 2 weeks ago, they opened one here, class 22, room 22, which is kind of in the, you kind of go around into the back parking lot and walk in, and they'll have you fill out a form. I have the forms here on the table too if you need. And then after that, you don't have to fill it out anymore. They give you a little card and you can go once a week to pick up any food that you need. All right, and there's no parking and all that kind of stuff, meaning there's no need for parking passes versus the credit campus. You had to have parking pass and all that. So it's much handier. All right, so there we go. The other folder the file that I want to show everyone is that these are all the class files. And by default, they show up like this, like a little preview of the first page. And you see little images of what things are going to look like. If perchance, you don't need to do this, but if you're seeing only file names here and it looks very different, it's because at some point you probably clicked on this icon, which gave you then only class file names like this. So if this is how you're seeing them, then you can find, how to use your pipeline username and password, iCloud Drive or whatever. But you want to go back to seeing the links as little previews, then now you need to go click on this one. So it's the same icon that changes from that to that. So here it's file names, here it's file previews, but it's the same exact files, okay? There's no change in what the files are. Now there's one that at the beginning of last session, I wanted everyone to open, and I'm going to have you guys open it one more time, which is this one, which is Mac OS versions. And so go to the M, see how I'm surrounded by files that start with M, alphabetically order, keep going down until you see this one. It won't be right there. For you, it might be here or there, because if I make this bigger or smaller, it switches around, you know what I mean? So it's not like if I see it on the right side, you'll see it on the right side. See, I just changed my window and it flopped down to here. So just look at the file, Mac OS versions. And if we want to read this file, you can double click on it and it pops up and it becomes bigger. Okay. So I'm showing, so go into your folder, file folder. Okay. No, this is your sheet. Yeah. Go back to Google Drive. Yeah, without glasses, it's hard to handle the computer. On the link, icon. And share drives. Yeah, I thought you had just done that, but somehow you lost that. Yeah, double click. Okay. And then you can close this window that pops up that's unnecessary. All right, so you can't handle anything here because this is my Zoom. If you want to handle anything, you need to put this over and do that all here. Okay, this is showing you. Go back to this and close this pop up because you don't need to close that there. So close. Yeah. And then you can move this over a little bit more. There we go. Now with this, you click on this, and then we move it over here a little bit, so it's out of that way. That way you can see. Okay, now back up on this for a second. All right, so here we are in the shared drives, and I was showing how if these are the class handouts and if you want to, you can access them, you can scroll up and down, you'll find the same one that I'm showing. Okay, and you found them, so great. Everyone else?
I've got files on my iPad, but I don't know, it should be.
Well, that's what we're gonna start working with in the class minutes.
Okay.
10. Most people should be finished, should be joining us by now, and that's the whole point of today's class. Letting people in, Here's Josie and Becky. All right, so. So for those of you who have just joined us, I need to know what, well, for everyone as a reminder, I need to know what version of OS you are running on your computer. And this gives you a listing of the versions. Now, very soon, a new one's coming out called Ventura. So any minute now, I'll add something to this handout, which is macOS Ventura, but I don't recommend that you guys change yet to macOS Ventura. I recommend that you wait maybe until January, give it 3 months. They tend to come out in November. And then wait, 2-3 months before changing. So it's not like everyone here should be updating. In last class, we talked a lot about updating automatically or not and how to prevent it and what to do. So if you want to guys watch, that was one of the first few class. In fact, I think the first or second for sure, we talked all about that. But for now, I recommend, so here's people joining us. All right. Hi, Justine. Hi, Josie. Hi, Becky. That Justine sound isn't on.
Hello
yet.
there.
So, Suzanne, your hand is up. Is that last question or is it still a question? I can't hear you, but I'm assuming you're saying last with your mouth open that way. I'm beginning to learn how to read. Wow. So here's the thing. I need everyone to who's at home right now. No one at home yet seems to be new to the class. Well, except for Suzanne, but you've taken classes before, just not this last one that we took. So you guys know the system that when you want to talk to me, I'm gonna ask you to raise your hands, or especially now that I might be out on the floor, so to say, helping someone, just speak up if you see that I haven't called you or paid attention or you're, checked on your hand, just call out and ask for, let me know that you want to talk, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do next now is ask you guys to confirm that what OS systems you have. Again, as I just said, most of you guys are all veterans of this course, so you know how to do it, but I'm going to share my entire screen. We have a couple of new students. One of them just walked out of the room. Bad timing. So how I want you guys to check is go to your Apple icon right there. And now, even if you don't need to check, I'm going to be doing quite a bit here in this file. So even those of you who know what your operating system is, go to your Apple and say about this Mac. Go to your computer's Apple and say about this Mac. Okay. And then that's what I need you to do. All right. So I'm, here we go. Hi, Vera. How are you? And here's Mary. All right. So I'm signing in into my other computer now. Okay.
Recording in progress.
All right. Okay, so I had to connect to my own computer because I have two different setups trying to imitate the majority of this class's setups. I have two different setups going here, and that way I'll be able to show you the way different computers are set up. All right, so let me minimize this. Hi, Vera, nice to see you. Once again,
Good morning.
you weren't in the intro to the Mac class, but you've been in my classes before. So you kind of know the whole how to get into class files and all that, which is what I was just finished explaining. So now we're starting with the gist of today's class. And well, today is this new Mac intro to Mac level 1 class. And it has to do with how to handle all of your files, where things are, what are the parts of your computer, how to create files and save them. Now, lately, every time I've been teaching the intro to level 1, I've had to cram in a lot of the stuff that I teach in the intro to math because they were only scheduling level 1 and 2. But this session, they scheduled all 3, intro and level 1 and 2. So I've done a ton of work already in the intro class where we spent a lot of time exploring all the settings in the iCloud and stuff. So for any of you guys joining us today, which would be Pam, Martha, Becky, Suzanne, and Vera, if you want to get much more clarity on all of the settings for the iCloud versus, your system preferences or your phone or your iPhone and how to handle all of this, we just spent 6 weeks, 6 classes, 3 weeks doing that. You have the class recordings available to you in the handouts to go and watch those recordings. So when I talk about this here, I'll give you hints and stuff to help you move along, but I will basically say this time that I have the luxury of having all 3 classes, I want to expand on everything. Like I was able to expand an intro to the Mac on all of the cloud. Now I want to be able to expand on files and creating files. Usually I've been cramming 2 classes in one and having less time. So hopefully this time there's much more time to handle your files. So the first thing we're going to do is open this one. So Pam wasn't in the room for a second when I showed go up to your Apple and then head up down to about this Mac. And once you have opened about this Mac, now I'm going to change my share so that now my share shows only that little window. Now, this window here has a ton of good stuff in it. Okay. The first good stuff that it has, of course, is what operating system are you running? So in my case, in this computer here, we're running OS Monterey. On the laptop that I'll share with you guys that I have set up here, I'm running Catalina. And that's about as different as it's going to get because after Catalina, you move up to Big Sur and Monterey, and Big Sur and Monterey are very similar. So that should cover the differences between what you have. Now, because I just saw everyone else, I kind of remember, but Vera and Suzanne, can you remind me what OS you guys are running?
Mine is Mac OS Monterey version 12.6.
Monterey, okay. And Vera?
Mine is Catalina.
Okay, good. So I'll have a sample of each because there is quite, especially in this portion of the class where we're talking files, there's a bit of a difference in the system preferences and how Catalina and Monterey are set up. So Pam, what are you running? Catalina and Martha?
Monterey.
Monterey. Okay, good. So we have one of each. We have 2 of each on the 4 people who are joining us today. And then everyone who was at home, I believe there was only a few people left with Catalina, right? I think Justine, were you still on Catalina? I believe.
Hi, sorry. Yes, I believe
Yeah.
I am.
And I think there was one more person, but I don't see them here yet. Okay. All right. So what I need everyone to do who's anywhere, wherever you are, at home or at school, you need to sign into the chat. Okay. So in the Zoom, the version of Zoom that you have, go to the chat and just say hi, just so that I see your name appearing. Okay. Because then I do attendance that way. Also, one thing I haven't checked this time is to make sure that everyone has their full name, which I think there's Maurice and there's Rogers. Okay. What's that?
They wanted us to say hi.
Yeah, just notice that if you go to the chat, people have been saying hi, I'm here, hello, good morning, that kind of thing. Now, don't forget that for those of you who are at home, if you need to write out a question, please do so. But since I'm also paying attention to like people in person, people online, whatever, if I don't seem to have answered the question that you wrote in the chat, point me to it. Someone else say, oh, she answered in the chat or something like that, because I might not. I feel like I should be a fly with eyes all around my head right now. Anyway, it's working. I need to have all my feelers out, so to say. All right. So why did I send you here? Beyond learning about Mac OS Monterey, which is very important, yes. I also, hold on, let Vera in, there we go. I also want you to notice that there's another chance to do a software update. I've told you last class, I told you a lot about how to do software update. So here it shows up again, another possibility of how to do that, which I'm not going to get into that, but just showing another place where it is. And then a thing here called system report. Now, both of these things take you to other utilities. You would have to be pretty high tech to understand what the system report gives you, but sometimes you might need help with your computer or something like that. You might connect to Apple or have a tech looking at your computer through, like if you call Apple, they have you connect and they kind of handle your computer. So they might be able to go into the system report. I'm going to click on it for a second to show you what I mean about what happens when you see a system report. And let me screen share. I have to do a new share to show you what just came up. So here, this comes up and it basically is a whole bunch of just numbers and stuff. And, you know, it's like, yay, I have no idea. Now, this is the kind of stuff that people who handle your computer will be able to use to tell you if things are up to date or not to date. You can't change anything here. It just shows you what your computer has. So system report, unless you're really good at the tech stuff, it looks like, you know, a foreign language. All right. So I don't recommend going in here. Now, there's just one word that's important to know, which is the memory. And the reason I'm going over here to memory is also under Mac OS, it says iMac processor memory here. Now that memory right there, that number, 16 gigabytes. If you have an older, meaning not one of the new chips, like not the M1 or M2 chips, that memory is really important. And I'm not going to get too technical today. This is as technical as get up. We're going to go back into practical stuff, but I do want to, some people over here, or as I said, I have a bit more chance to get slightly deeper into some of the stuff this session because we've had the luxury of having all three. So I want to tell you that that number is the one that matters. A lot of people are buying computers right now. If you're getting a computer that's M1 or M2 chip, the newest computers that started being made the last few years, that number matters, but it matters less. The M1 and M2 chips are really fast. So when you buy a computer, it used to be that the main thing you need to look at was this number. So anyway, if you buy an older computer, which are still out there and they're still for sale. So find out if it's not an M1 chip, you want to make sure that you have at least 16 gigabytes. Don't go for less. They double up. There's 8 gigabytes or 4 gigabytes. That's how they used to come. So anyone who has an older computer, you probably have 4 to 8 gigabytes. So if you look at your computers over here where it says 16 for me, like most of you who have an older computer, probably it says 8 or 4. If you buy right now an older computer, and you can still find, like the other day I went to Costco and they're selling the new ones, but they're still selling some of the old ones because it's not so much that they're old, but the factory still create, they're still new computers, they're not secondhand. But because of models and shapes, like the AirBook came out with the M1 chip earlier, but the Mac Pro came later. So it can be a new computer and still not have the new chips, in which case it really matters. You'll find some cheaper ones now. Don't go for anything that's less than 16. So you'll find some pretty cheap of the non-M1s for 8 gigabytes. The reason this matters is because as the computer ages, at the beginning, it's going to be fabulous. It's still going to be a fast computer. But as the computer ages, that's what makes the computer fast. It's that thing called memory. And sometimes it's called RAM, RAM, random access memory. So if it's RAM, like if you go to a store or whatever, people just call it RAM because it's RAM, but if you just say memory, sometimes people confuse memory with storage, so I just want to clear out that memory is RAM, random access memory. It's what makes a computer fast. Now, the M1s and the M2s are so fast that even an 8 gig M1 or M2 is still very fast. That said, 5 years down the road, when our computers start to begin to ache and creak and crank, it's still better to have a bit more RAM than not. Although, as I said, the other day, we were running some tests with my son, and he was doing a ton of research and stuff like that. And really, once you have those chips, 8 or 16 gigs, it helps. Now, all of this that I just said is for everyone, except if you're in one of my, or you're not in one of my classes, but unless you're interested a lot in the Adobe, Photoshop, photography, video editing, that kind of world. So that's the other set of classes I teach, are all the photography and video and editing. That world still needs a lot more speed. So if you are interested in all of that, then definitely work on that not being less than 16. In fact, you might want to go to 32.
Can you
And
add,
this, and
like, if you have 8, like mine said 8.
okay, so that's if you're gonna buy a new computer or an old or a used new to you, but used computer. What matters most is that RAM. Now, here's the deal. Can you change it? At this point, unless you have a pretty old computer, no. Once you bought it, you got it. So this is one of probably the only real negatives of Mac computers, that they are now being sold as sealed products. So what you buy is what you get, and what you get is what you have until it dies and you buy a new one. Now, anyone who has a iMac, like the ones here at the school, which is a 2015 iMac and older, they can still add new, they can still add new RAM. So my computer, which is one of these, mine at home is one of these, exactly what's sitting in front of you guys here. It's an iMac 2015. I was able to add, and I have 32 gigabytes. So the reason I brought you to this is because if it over here, it says memory slots. This says 16 gigabytes right here. And it's because it has 2 8-gigabyte slots. So for anyone who has an iMac 2015 or older, or who has a laptop MacBook Pro, I believe 2013, maybe 2015, but for sure 2013 or older, you can still buy memory and have, you can have the Mac mechanic put it in, or in this case, it's a slot back there. I just bought it and put it in and make your faster. So my iMacs are, my iMac is gonna last an extra 2 years, but I have to change it because I was able to add RAM. You can't anymore. The new iMacs, the newer laptops, you got to put the money in when you buy it. Okay. So if you're at all wondering where to put your money, where you put your money in when you're trying to come in, you should put money in RAM if you want your computer to last more years. All right. But if you already have 8 gigabytes and your computer is older than 2015, depending on the computer, it might still need to be able to add it. And then you have to then buy, depending on how many slots, you can put 2 more, or if it's a laptop, you only have 2, then you change these 2 for if you have 2 4s, it adds 8, which is probably what you have, then you change for 2 8s to 16 or 2 16s to 32. They're always doubled up. All right. I don't want to get much deeper into that, just to warn you that that makes a long difference when your computer is getting older. At the beginning, we're also happy with our new computers, they're so fast. But then when they start to creak and crank, how much RAM they have really makes a difference. But now you have to put that money in at the beginning. Yes.
Did you say you to get an increase in that memory? You need to take it to a Mac mechanic, or can you take it to a store?
I purchased it and put it in myself, but I would recommend 99% of people should have someone, the Mac store or
Apple Store.
the Apple Store. I mentioned the Mac Mechanic. I'm gonna stop sharing this for a second. I mentioned the Mac, just so people can see my face when I'm just talking. I mentioned Mac Mechanic only because they are, hold on, I'm opening my laptop working, so I can't say two things at the same time. Yeah, so my laptop here has, let me share this screen. I forgot to show you that it tells you if it's upgradable. So now I'm sharing you my laptop, which is Catalina over here, see? And it's an old one. It's from 2013, but still this one said upgradable memory. No. Okay, so this laptop,
I don't see what you're showing.
oh, okay, when you guys here are being shown this one, it's only shown on Zoom. So you have to look at the Zoom picture to see my my computer, my Catalina share. It doesn't show here because this displays, it's a long story. So thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so that's another reason why you have to have your Zoom connected. So if you're in class, you can see my laptop. All right, and this is the one that's Catalina, which I believe you have Catalina, right? You have Catalina too, but Pam, you said you had Catalina. So when I share my laptop, it's set up like your computer. So you need to maybe, so this is when you would have to expand.
I don't really, I've never seen.
As I said, you can have it,
No, that's all right.
you can have it, you don't need to be seeing people. But when I stop sharing my screen, and you don't want to see people, you can just. At that point, tell me, and I'll show you how to minimize it. So it's down there, as opposed to there, and then this will be your setup. You need to have this up. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to fix a setup. A Zoom setup. All right, so see over here, it says upgradable memory. No, so I cannot upgrade this memory. This laptop, whatever brand it is, MacBook Pro, the 2012 could still be updated, but the 2013 could not. But some other Apple laptops that were older than this could still be upgraded. So then you would want to see in there. So this one here, I'm stuck with 8 gigabytes and it'll not be upgradable. And it's so 2013 and it's still going, but it's getting quite long in the tooth, so to say. All right, so there's so much, this is all very in the it's just numbers and stuff that I don't want to bug you with. Just know that if you click on memory and if over here it tells you that it's not upgradable, then this is it. You can't do anything about it. But as in my other computer, it didn't say that it was not upgradable, meaning that the iMac 2015, which is much newer, and I told you new computers can't be upgraded, but the iMacs were able to be upgraded. See how it doesn't say not upgradable. So if you have an iMac, you can still upgrade it. I believe Mac Minis can still be upgraded. So anyway, I'm going to stop my share. Just close that system reports window. You can't change anything. It just tells you what's in your computer. So it's not like it's dangerous, but we don't need it anymore. Other than that, you're fine. All right. So now I'm going to share my laptop. Okay. So this is Catalina instead. So I closed the system report window and now we're only seeing the Mac OS overview, so to say. But notice that it has quite a few other settings over here. And the other setting, and the one that is directly related to this class, is the storage. So remember I told you a lot of people confuse memory with storage. So we're going to talk about storage right now. So click on storage and we have computer, again, this is just my computer, but at home, those of you who are here need to check out your own computer. This storage is basically how big of a warehouse you have, how big of a space to store stuff. So this has nothing to do with speed per se, although there is some relationship to speed in the sense that older computers have some of you guys might have SSD storage, I believe it's called, or something like that. I don't have anyone here who has that. Let me see, let's see. Okay, flash storage. Okay, there's a couple different types of class of storages, and they can be faster or slower. But I believe that most computers, anything relatively new, has the kind of storage that's fast. All of these that I can show you here have it. I don't remember the name, sorry, I'm having a blank on that. But yeah.
Solid state drive.
Yeah.
SSD.
Thank you. I hate acronyms. Acronyms and me, we don't like get each other. I know the acronym and I know what it does, but I really know what it means. So thank you, solid state drive. So if your storage is SSD, then it is much faster. Okay, so the computer just runs faster because it's an SSD storage. So that's just, again, you bought it, you have it, that's it. Now, beyond that, so I'm not going to talk about this because you either have it or don't have it. That's just what's on your computer. But what matters to me is that number. So here it says 500 gigabytes, right? On your computers, you might have, it's also in doubles, right? Either 250 gigabytes, 500 gigabytes, or 1,000 gigabytes. And 1,000 gigabytes is, it would say 1 terabyte. Now that's that alarm that sounds intrusive, or like my phone is ringing. It's because it's warning me that it's time to give you guys a break. Which when I'm in the middle of a thing, I'll keep going for a little bit and then I'll ring again and remind you, come on, give me a break, give me a break, and finally I'll give you a break. Okay, so it's not my phone ringing, it's me. But otherwise, I'm kind of like when a train starts going, I'll just keep going for hours. So it's for your benefit that that alarm is ringing. So just so you know, you could have 250 gigabytes. You could have 125 gigabytes. You could have 500 gigabytes. Or you could have 1,000 gigabytes, but it wouldn't be written like that. It would be saying 1 terabyte. Or you could have 2 terabytes, right? So this is about the range. I doubt anyone has any more or less than that. So those of you who are at home, let me stop my share so you can see the board behind me. And here's where I wrote how many gigabytes you see. So if you see 1 terabyte, that means that you have 1,000 gigabytes. Now, this computer said 500 gigabytes. That's how much stuff my computer can hold. Again, in the past, you could make bigger hard drives, but now you're stuck with what you've got. So again, if you are someone who has a lot of stuff on your computer, you keep a lot of stuff on your computer. There's ways to lighten it. We've been talking about the cloud and stuff like that. But what matters is how full is your computer. So if your computer is very full, it's going to, of course, fill up much faster if you only have 125 gigabytes, because just the computer running, the whole system running will take up a huge part of it. Means there's no space on your computer for extra files, versus if you have 1,000 gigabytes, you probably, or 1 terabyte, you probably have a lot of space beyond the system. So this is what tells you how full your computer is. And as you can see, I have a long bunch of white stuff here, which means I have a lot of empty space. I have 350 available of my 500. So I have a lot of free space. Yay, my computer is a happy camper. The other hand, many of you guys are seeing that you have a lot of stuff, and then you're left with just this little bit of space here. that's when your computer is like, oh, choking for air and needing to get some more space. Well, I just told you you can't change that. So then what do? Well, we try to A, get rid of stuff you don't need, or B, work on paying and getting your stuff onto the cloud if you're not, and then having the cloud hold your stuff. So we're going to decide what's better. Plan C is to buy another hard drive, connect it to your computer, and put some stuff outside of your computer. It's kind of like your house is getting full, you need to go rent a storage room, storage space, or whatever those places are called. Put your holiday decorations in there or something like that, because you need them only a few times a year, right? So anyway, so we're stuck with what you've got. So depending on what, this is showing you the amount of space used. So can you all report in the chat? Can you report to me how much space is left? So like in this case, it says 350, you can round out 350 available of 500. So 350 of 500. Okay, so go into the chat, everyone at home and everyone who's here, of course, use computers at home. All right, so go ahead and tell me. So Mary, you have 490 of 500. Wow, is your computer just newly bought, Mary, or is that you? By the way, yeah.
1 year or have it to the
Okay,
beginning of this year.
because that means that your whole system is taking only 10 gigabytes, which is bizarre. Usually it takes more than that. Like
I have
mostly
external drive for all my pictures.
all your stuff, yeah, because she's in my Photoshop classes, and so all her stuff. Okay, so you're keeping your computer quite available. Hi, Annette, nice to see you join us. I'm glad you made it back from your appointment. Nice to see you. All right, so we're just checking out how much is available. So here I'm seeing Suzanne saying she's got 89 available of 250, okay? So we're at the last 100 gigabytes. Marta is saying 170 of 250. So, you're okay-ish. You're there. Now, why does it matter? Okay, so Jeanette, you only have 60 gigs available out of 250. So you're definitely needing to do some cleanup there. Why? You are running, the computer needs all, so everyone keep reporting. Nothing is right or wrong. We're just trying to figure out what do we need to do to our computers to make them run better, and how do we handle those files? That's the gist of this. For the people who joined us today, which really everyone online, for better or for worse, knows me from one or another class. So basically, Pam and Martha, I haven't done an official introduction because basically I have, 25 people who know me, so I'm sorry. But this, and I was saying this, Pam, right when you met, this class today's the Mac level 1 deals with handling your computer, your files, the stuff that's in it. So that's why I'm focusing on this conversation today. We have 4 Mac classes, and in each one deals with something else. So today we're dealing with our stuff and how to handle it and where it is and where it's not, what's the best way to move it, what to do with it. So, so most of my space is other users, says Suzanne. Okay, that's an interesting question. So we're going to talk about that because in fact, over here, I do have an example on my other computer. Let me stop. On this computer, I have an example of what she's talking about. On this computer, I have system, and then it says other users over here. Okay, so the only people for whom it says other users, yeah, now when I show my laptop, you guys have to, I know, I'm sorry. So it's the only way. It's just that since computers are set up in so different way, I'm showing you. What that means is that you have your computer set up for 2 or more different people to use it. So in this case, I teach about you, when people have, for example, two people in the same house who use the same computer. It could be your spouse, it could be your kids, it could be something. Then ideally, you each have your own setup and you don't just like grab the same computer and use it, because then their bookmarks, your files, their files. Mainly, the issue is Apple ID. You can only use one Apple ID connected to your computer. So if you have two people in your house that use the same computer, then each one should be set up as a separate user. So in my case, and let me show you, I'm gonna change my share here. In this laptop that I'm teaching with you right here, so I'm gonna share my laptop. I have my system preferences. Just watch this. Don't you need to do it? I have two users. I have Mac Teacher, which is the one I use to teach with you guys. So only teaching stuff is here. And then I have me, because I actually use this computer for other stuff. So I have my real stuff in here. So I have two users, and then there's the guest user. So my Diana Musacchio user is using most of the space in this computer. And I only have some stuff in this computer that I need to teach with. So most of my real me uses this computer. But what I mean by this is, this could be, I use both of these accounts is what I'm trying to say, but this could be your husband, your son, and then this is you. And neither one of them can use the other person's files. And they don't overlap. My calendar has my appointments, his calendar has his appointments. My contacts are mine, his contacts really show up as two different computers. So if you have another user, and now back to Suzanne's question, who said most of her system is being used by another user, then is your other user, is this the setup that you have? And if you do, then the other user has to clean up stuff? Or was this set up before and now you're not having that set up anymore? So Carol's joining us. Anyway, I'm going to stop my share. So Suzanne, what's your situation with this other user? Who else
Yeah,
uses your computer?
That would be my husband. And I always think, okay, he's gotten his own Mac laptop now, and we've gotten his stuff off of mine. But then this is telling me that we haven't. So
Yeah.
his stuff is taking up a lot of my storage.
Yes. So if he does have everything transferred to his laptop and you don't need it anymore, then what you need to do is access his and sometimes there's 2 or 3 or 4 couples in class who do this, and I spend a bit more time in class. But if it's only, in this case, let me share again this entire desktop now. If it's only one person, I won't spend as much time. But I do want to show you quickly how up here on the far right, I don't know if you see my mouse way up on the far right, top right of the screen, where it says Mac Teacher, I can switch between Mac Teacher or Diana Musacchio are the two users. So what I recommend, Suzanne, not now that you're in class, because when you do this, the computer kind of doesn't restart, but it resets and your Zoom will disconnect. But then after class, switch to your husband's account and then empty out, clear out, trash, get rid of everything that's in there. And then when you're done throwing everything out and emptying out your trash, when you come back here, you should make sure first that it's true that he has all the stuff. So maybe take your time between today and Thursday. And then when you come back, hopefully a lot of all that stuff is gone and your whole computer is yours. Okay?
All right.
Now,
Thank you.
if he's never going to use the computer again, you're still better off doing that, go into his account and deleting everything. But then when you're done, you come over here to the system preferences and you choose his account and you delete his account. Okay. But that's first, empty it out as much as you can. When emptying an account that has a lot of stuff, it takes a long time. So first go into his account, erase everything you can. Now don't get rid of software, because one thing I wanted to say, the only thing that gets shared is software. So if I install Photoshop in mine, your husband, like you, Suzanne, install Photoshop in your side, your husband has Photoshop. They'll open it up and they won't see the files you used, but they have the software. So the software is shared. You don't need to install it twice. Just the files. You can't see what they were working on. They can't see what you were working on. Okay. So, yeah. And so now, is anyone else in that situation where you have different users? Sometimes I have quite a few people who have users in their computers. You have different users in yours?
It says other. Wait, but I don't-
Other users is different than others, so good question. So what is being pointed to here by, hold on, let me share. All right, so what Jeanette is sharing here is that when you put your system over here, it says other. So y'all have an other, and we'll talk about that other, but that's different than other users, okay? That one is other users. Other users is the one that Suzanne mentioned and that I am showing you. You would only have other users if someone else is half using your computer. So most of you should not have that one, but you should all have applications, photos, and other. There's an other that a lot of people will have. Some people have a huge other, some people have a small other. That other is part of what we're going to be addressing of how to get rid of it, because it's like, what are those files and why do we need it? Okay. So now, unless there's a burning question about this, the alarm has gone off quite a few times to give you guys a break, which I know for those of you who just joined us at 10, it seems kind of early, but a lot of people in this class have been here since 9. So we're going to take a 15-minute break. If you at home have any questions that are completely, that you know that you're hanging out that you want to ask me, since it's the first class, some of you joined us today, write that question out in the chat. And then when we come back, we'll talk about those. And if not, we'll continue on with the class. Now, the break time I always put over here. So it's, I remember what this font is. It is actually, that computer is actually correct, believe it or not. So we're going to say be back by 11 a.m. Okay, see you guys. the hang of it. Hi there. All right. Those of you who are at home, start trundling back to your computers. Same here.
We
Some-
had a good talk.
I actually took a real break this time. Many times I worked through my break, but I had to do some calls, so I don't know what was happening here, but I hear them all talking about Siri right now. Last class, I told you guys that we'd talk a little bit more about Siri, but we haven't really talked about Siri, so not gonna do it right now, but one trick I want to show you guys, some of you guys have already seen it, is that whenever break time is called, and it's always 15 minutes, then I can lose track of time when I'm busy and doing other stuff. So as soon as break is over, what I do is it begins, I grab my phone and I say, hey Siri. So Siri starts listening and then I go, set timer for 12 minutes. And so then,
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that
because
again?
I'm talking other stuff, had I said just that, it would hear me. So then it sets a timer for 12 minutes and off I go. And at some point I hear it ring and I go, oh, I got 3 minutes to make it back to the computer. So, it's just a really good reminder. I don't have to do anything. It does it for me. And it gets us all back on time. So I thought it was an appropriate mention of Siri. That said, I saw here Linda and Jeanette playing around with other things that Siri does, which is kind of fun when you start using it more. But that's my 90. I use Siri every day I teach for that. And then if I'm cooking and I'm like, oh, gotta come back in 25 minutes. Yeah, I set the oven alarm on, but what if I'm in the garden? So then I set my Siri and I go, hey, set timer for 25 minutes. And then it rings, I go, oops, the cake is burning or whatever. Okay, as if I bake. I don't bake, but anyway, yeah, I don't bake often. But I do cook other stuff, so yeah, I do need to have timers on for stuff all day long. I told you got me in the alarms and timers. I run my life around that so that I'm not late and stuff. Yeah.
Rob had this conversation also about he got help, so he had an external something box or something where he has way more.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
didn't get into that.
Yeah, so in case you guys, I don't know if you guys can hear, well, usually try to speak loudly so people at home can hear you. Because your sounds are turned off, right? Your computer sounds are off so that there's no reverb. So Jeanette was asking about how to have more files on your computer. Because remember, Jeanette's one of the ones who has not much space on her computer. And that's part of this whole class is how to make space on your computer, how to put a lot of your stuff in, get rid of stuff, or put stuff somewhere else, or put it on the cloud, so
Migration.
my class will be dealing with that. So yeah, so Jeanette wants to know if I'll be talking about that, because Rod mentioned he has an external hard drive where he puts a lot of his stuff, and so yes, that's part of this conversation. Now, those of you who are at home, many of you guys also have external hard drives already. I'm not talking about time machines, which I will be talking about. Time machine is where you do backups of all your stuff, so you should have that too. But some of you have external hard drives. Excuse me, sorry, 1 second. You need to put that on that table. Yeah, and even that is generous. They don't want any in here, but if you need to just get up and drink and eat all you need over there. You know what I forgot? Doesn't Radine sit there? Radine sits in the middle one, right, Rod? Radine sits in that one, okay. Yeah, so any drink that you have that isn't of the unspillable kind, thank you guys, has to be back there. The only kind you can have in the room, and the only person who's allowed to have one that is non-spillable is me. But I want you to know that this is something even for homes and not homes. The only reason I can have it is because I have it away from my computers. So even though it's non-spillable, if this were to have fallen down, I got out of the car and now it's spilling, things happen, these things happen. Then if this were to even drop one drop onto my keyboard, I could kill my entire computer if you have a laptop versus a keyboard. So even at home, don't have drinks unless you have them on a separate table, and I always say lower. Okay, So I have my desktop, my computer, and then I have a table that's a little side table that I have lower than my desk, and that's where I have my drink, so that if they spill, they can't touch my keyboard. Okay. Water can kill your keyboard as much as coffee. Yes, so it's liquids. Okay, and no food whatsoever is allowed. So to food, you need to eat outside. And drinks, I'm logical. These are long classes. I understand. Just stand up and drink it over there and leave it. But yeah, if a higher up comes in and see it, if you ever are visited by people, you can't have drinks in here either. I didn't say that, and this is being recorded, so shush. All right. Okay, guys. So hopefully you at home have gotten all the drinks that you have hanging out and put them somewhere away from your computer too, right? As I've said before, replacing a keyboard is, $100. Replacing a laptop is thousands. So don't let liquid fall on your computer. All right. So let me share. This is my school screen again, and this is the one that's Monterey. And I'm only explaining when it's Monterey or Catalina because there are some slight differences. Not here though. My Catalina and Monterey and this are pretty much the same, but there will be some differences. And so if you know that you have Catalina or older, which I think I haven't heard anyone here say anything older than Catalina, then pay it when you see something looking different, then go, oh, maybe it's because this is Catalina, then ask me, right? Now, if anyone sees something that's different on yours, ask me, because it could be that there's another reason it's different. But if I'm showing Monterey right now and you're on Monterey and you see something different, just ask me. But if it's Catalina, then I'll go and show the equivalent Catalina. If it's of import, if it really is a difference that matters. Now, older computers did not have these buttons here. Overview, display, storage, support, and resource. It didn't used to have them. So if you have something much older, you will only have this information, yes, and system report, that was still there, but these buttons aren't there. So notice that these are all different things that it shows you. Displays, I have 3 displays set up here. So it's showing them to me, which is the monitor, the set one, and the computer. So if you guys have more than one displays, you'll see more displays. But if you just have your regular computer, you'll just see the computer that you have, the one display that's your computer. Now, storage is the one that I was telling you about, and it's recalculating every time I go there for the first time. So I'm going to leave it. Support. For those of you who have still have Apple support because you bought your computer a short enough time ago and you paid for it, then this is one more way to get to your Apple support. There's so many ways to get to them, website, whatever, but this is one way. You can check your coverage. It will tell you if you still have insurance or whatever coverage is support. And then you click on get support and it'll connect you to tech support. So that's what support is. And then resources. Resources is, again, when people ask me, I showed you a few times how when people ask me questions that I don't know, I just say I go to Safari and I just Google it and I just ask myself the question and the answer comes up. The answers that I look for, the ones that are replies from Apple support. Sometimes there's YouTube, other people who have answers, but for the most part, I look for answers that come from Apple. And so another way to get to those is right here under resources. It gives you the user manual. It gives you support. It gives you help. So, just consider that this is a good place to go. So say that I say, well, I want a user manual. It's not a book. So I'm going to click on user manual and it opened up. Now I have to share the screen too. It opened up this Safari window and it takes you over here to the user manual, right? So you can say, I'm looking at, I don't know, I want to know what to do with a calendar, and you click on the word calendar and it takes you to a calendar. So it's like it's an online book, okay? And it takes you to an online place that you can look for support. Now, if instead, so that's when I went to user manual, okay? But if I go and said, so for example, to Mac OS help, I'm showing you. I have to show each window, so I'm gonna go and show this home window. If I go to macOS help, then it opens up this macOS user guide, right? So this is a bit more interactive, like the user manual is literally a book that's online, and this is it. So it's chapter 3, 4, 5, like you have to read it as a book. But when you go to the user macOS help, which is this window that opens up, then this is a little bit more interactive. I'll click on table of contents right there and see it has all these different things. So remember the whole last class, we talked about Apple ID and iCloud, create Apple ID, manage Apple ID preferences. We spent a lot of the time. What is the cloud? What is the Cloud Plus? I haven't even mentioned Cloud Plus. There's so many different things. Set up the iCloud, store files in that cloud drive. This is a lot of what we're going to talk about now in this class, how to store your files. I'm not because I want you to store them in the iCloud, but for those who already have them in the iCloud, we'll talk about it. For those who don't, and you know, manage your iCloud storage, share files, that kind of stuff. So this is actually a really useful spot, right? This is actually a really good one. And it's very helpful. So again, I'm going to close this. How did I get here? How did I get to all of these places? I got to all of these places because of this little resources place. Now, if you actually need, that's macOS help, which is the most useful one. This is the book that's online. And then macOS support connects you to actual Apple support. And then it lets you find out if you need help from them. Like it connects you straight to connecting to the people who can you make an appointment with and actually get help with them. Or if you forgot your Apple ID, if you need to repair your computer, that kind of stuff. Okay. So that all of that from this last section.
I don't have that tab under Big Sur. I get the service, but it's not recent.
Okay, and you are what are you, Big Sur? Okay, so in let me see what I have. Yeah, so let me share. Now I'm going to share my laptop, which is a Catalina, and from what I hear, Big Sur is the same way. They don't have resources, they just have something that says service, and it just tells you about the service, and you have check my service and support coverage status, which is equivalent to the first one. Show my service and repair options, tell me more about Apple Care products. So it's all about service, but it doesn't connect you to the help. Okay. That said, if you click on show my service and repair options, oh, your serial number, okay. I say allow, it takes you to the support. This is still that support page, but it doesn't give you the help. But how do you get, once you're online, how do you get to that support page? Over here, you click on support, and over here you can say, okay, what I need support is for my iPad or for my Mac or for my phone. So say it's for your Mac, you click on Mac, and then over here, it tells you how to upgrade. So what do you have? You have a MacBook Air, a Pro, an iMac, it just asks you. So say that we have an iMac, I click on iMac. You kind of have to keep answering. And then you go, okay, so move content, set up your Mac, use displays, identify, it kind of, and then you get in the end to the same place, to the macOS user guide, to the iMac essentials, et cetera, okay? Now, I'm gonna stop this share and go back. So as you can see, this is Big Sur, Catalina, and older. If you have much older, you don't even have that option. But I don't
Come on,
think
Whiskers.
this class does anything. Anyone at home have something different than these two that I showed? No, I think, yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna head back to Monterey to this last one, where I just want to show you that in this case, it's showing me Mac OS resources versus Mac resources. And I want to be clear, because what's Mac OS versus Mac? What do you guys, who wants to venture? Given what I have here, what's the difference?
Mac OS system.
It's the operating system, right? Which, as Maria mentioned, we've handled through the system preferences all the time. It's the operating system. So it's all about software. That's why you have like files, where to put them, computer, all the stuff that we did the first class, iCloud, all that kind of stuff. It's like the support, the software versus Mac resources. It's more like the hardware stuff, your computer parts and pieces and kind of stuff, okay? So if you have a laptop, it should be showing you a little laptop here. If you have, in this case, it's an iMac, so it's showing me an iMac. But if you are looking at Mac resources from your laptop, you should see a picture of your laptop there. So your help will be based on whatever computer you own. Like the one I'm sharing is showing you the picture of these computers that we have here at the lab. But you at home should be seeing a picture there of whatever computer you are accessing it. So if you have a MacBook Air, it should be showing you a MacBook Air. If you have a MacBook Pro, et cetera, Mac Mini, all right? And it's showing you information then about that. So if I click on specs, it'll give me the specs of this computer. So people who need to know what computer do you own, that's a good place to find out. So I clicked on specs, and this point is telling me exactly what computer I own, all the stuff, what it came with, what it didn't come with. Sometimes you guys don't know if it is or not, you know. What is, some people ask you, what's your computer, what it can be. This is it. This tells you that information. Anyway, let me head back to over here. Okay, so that's very useful. Great. So I've shown you all the useful ones. Now let me go to the one that truly matters. This one, storage. That's the one that truly matters. So let's go back to that one and click on storage. If it has to recalculate, then it's going to be recalculating. And why do I say this is the one that truly matters? Because the rest you can't do anything about. It's just showing information and telling you how to get help, that kind of stuff. Storage. That's it. That's what this comes all about. What do you have in your computer? How do you make more space? How do you make, what do you do with the stuff that's too much of? So now I'm looking over your shoulder for a second. Oh, but it's kind of cool. This is where sharing your screen on your computer would be fun, because then I can show more than just mine. But if you guys have a lot of stuff, I'm looking here over Jeanette's shoulder, and she has much more fun colors. She has like 5 different colors there, and she has a big chunk of documents, then a chunk of photo. No, what's in your computer? She has photos, she has apps, she has messages, mail, music creation system, and other, and then some empty space. So right here in mine, I'm only showing apps right here. If I hover over, this one says apps because it's big, but if I hover over this little one, it says documents. I have very few documents here. I have Mac OS and I have system data. And of all things, since this computer, I told you, everyone has an other. This computer is barely used. There's no other. But I would venture to say that 99% of you guys also have something that says other, which is, I did show it to you in my other laptop, right? So does anyone see something there other than what I just mentioned? Like I just read out from Danette, she has photos and music and documents and other stuff. So are those of you who have your own, yeah, let's close the system. And here we go, storage.
I have messages.
For now. So when this one finishes calculating, it'll tell you what this space is made up of. Right now, it just says used space. So someone at home said, do you have messages?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is Carol.
Yeah, so, hi Carol, which by the way, remember the other day I told you I was going to the theater? Carol's been my student for at least 2 years. I met her in person because she also went to the theater. So that was so fun. She's like, oh, we have never met. I mean, I know Carol. Come on, we've been 2 years in my classes, but it's the first time I actually saw her. So that was kind of fun. And Josie was also there. So that was fun. And I was with my husband. It was like, it was fun. Guys, by the way, yeah. Thank you, Josie, for saying what you said, by the way, because it never occurred to me. I always tell you certain things that are happening, but I never noticed to tell you that if you guys want to go to the theater, the shows that are here, as a student, the tickets are much cheaper and you get a $10 ticket as a student. And someone mentioned, well, they get senior tickets. I don't know what the price is, but I'm pretty sure that I have a feeling that student tickets are probably cheaper than, I don't know, than senior tickets. Anyway, at the Garvin Theater, yeah.
They're
So,
$10
yeah, they're $10.
as a student and 15 as a senior, and then I think 18 regular.
Yeah, regular is 18, 15, and or $10 for student. So, and they're great shows. Was it, I think Josie, no, Carol, you said that you had.
It was hilarious.
in
But that was
years that
only
much.
The preview, it's not the bid.
No, that's the regular, yeah. We staff get to go to the preview for free. So I go to the previews because that's the only, after the first 2 days of preview, it's the only time I get to go for free. The rest of the times I pay staff price is actually higher than student. I think it's 15 also or something like that, I don't know. So I go to the previews, but if you guys go after the previews, which happened last week already, now it's, I think it plays for 10 days or something like that, or 2 weeks, I don't know. So
Play right now.
the play that goes wrong, it's a comedy.
Was it good?
It was good, yeah, it was funny. It's a play of people setting up a play, trying to set up a play, but everything goes, like literally everything goes wrong. So a lot of pratfalls and stuff like that, but it's very much action up there on
But
screen.
that's student actors from the city.
No, the Garvin Theater uses some students and some professionals. So when you read it, always brings in the main characters are usually professionals, and then they have a lot of student work. The students do a lot of the set was amazing, and they do all the set is done by students, stuff like that. So anyway, enough about that. Just wanted to throw out that you guys have your students. So wherever there's a student discount, stores, museums, shows, you guys are students. So come to the front offices, get yourself a little card that you can flash and show that you're a student. And I just wanted to share that. Okay,
Deanna, I had my hand up for a quick question.
I'm sorry, Josie. Yes, thank you. I see it now.
And this is just real quick because I have the one, the chip. I bought my computer, it says a 2020, but I bought it last year. And I found when we were talking about memory that it has 8 gigabytes, and then it didn't say that it was upgradable or whatever that is. However, I clicked on the technical specs, and
Yeah.
right there, it says configurable to 16 gigabytes. So how
Okay,
does-
well,
yeah.
that's interesting because what kind of computer is it? Is it a laptop?
It's a laptop MacBook Pro.
Okay, I highly, okay, so it's up, configurable means that it can be configured as that. And I might be wrong, but I'm 99.99999% sure that you can't upgrade it. It just means that kind of laptop can be upgraded that much
Oh,
factory. Like
yes.
certain computers can have much more RAM, much less RAM, depending on their as max. Like you can't put more than that.
Got it.
Configurable to that, meaning before you buy it. That
Yes.
said,
Yeah.
that said, if it's already been purchased.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so like when you purchase it, when you go buy it, if you're in person or online, you can have it, you don't need to buy the one that's on the store. You can tell them, well, configure it differently, give me more RAM, whatever, and it might take a few days to, if they don't have it in the store, to set it up for you. But
So
once-
was this a poor mistake of mine to not be aware of that? Because I bought it just last year and I do have the Apple Care on it, but I only bought the 8 gigabyte because.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a mistake. I'm just warning for people who are about to buy one to consider that number to, if you can, put some more money up front. It'll give you a couple more years worth of computer. It's not a mistake, but not everyone needs a computer to last 7 years. 5 years could be enough, in which case that difference doesn't matter. Also, it depends, and this is really important, on how many apps you run at the same time, or how many tabs you have online. So on our browser. So that RAM, random access memory,
Mhm.
what it means, and I was trying to avoid much technicality, but let me be clear. When you have a lot of things open at the same time, the computer needs to use RAM to be able to have your mail uploading, your 10 tabs all up working at the same time. And then you also have, Word and Excel, and then you left, 3 other tabs open. So if you don't have much RAM, when your computer begins to feel a bit sluggish, consider always turning off all your other applications. Because then an 8 gig RAM, a 16 gig RAM, a 32 gig RAM will work just as well for that one application. It's just when you have a ton of stuff open that RAM begins to matter because it needs to handle all these different things in the background. Again, we talked at the beginning of last class, we talked a lot about looking at your dock and turning off everything that's running and all that kind of stuff. So that's a constant thing you need to do because it speeds up your computer to not have 25 things running. Now, maybe you only have Chrome or Safari open, but you have 20 tabs open. Whew, that really slows down your computer. Each one of those tabs needs to be kept updating, and if a new video is coming up, if you have YouTube or something like that. So when you're not using those tabs, close them off. So we're gonna, that I haven't demoed, I'll help you more. But I did demo out code and applications. So if you don't have much RAM, just be aware to turn off excessive applications, and then you're still fine, right?
Got it. Got it. Thank you so
And
much.
if you're running computer applications like mine, Photoshop or, video editing or whatever, I just turn everything off first before I run those so that things run happily. So yeah, it's easier to not have to worry, to have everything open and have a lot of RAM. But if you know that you're short on RAM, just, yeah, great question. And thanks in a way, just keep things cleaned up and closed when you're not using
My
them.
thought that in 5 or 6 years, technology changes too, so you might want to upgrade anyway.
Yeah, so exactly what I was gonna say. As far as computer makers they hope you change it every 2 or 3 years. Reality says we probably don't change things every 2 or 3 years. So why not give yourself a head start by putting your money at the beginning and stuff that might make it last longer, right? And external hard drive size, the one that we're looking here under support, this one we can, under storage, this we can put in more space by adding, like Jeanette said that Rob told, external hard drives. You can make more space in different ways. You can't give your computer the capacity to run more programs faster. So put your money in that so that in the future you can run 20 tabs at the same time and not worry for a few more years. And I like to use my computers until their death now. That said, since I teach Macs, I get to the point where I have to be able to have the updated stuff. So like I can't, with this laptop, I used to be able to teach. I can't really teach. I can't upgrade to Monterey on this laptop anymore. The most it will upgrade, it's in 2013, the most it will upgrade is to Catalina. I will never upgrade past them. So in a few years, Catalina will be so old. This is basically I'll still be using this laptop I use at home. It sits by my TV and it runs our home. This is our TV system. And on Monday nights and Wednesday nights, I have to unplug it and put it in my briefcase and I forget to bring it in the morning. But that's the purpose of this laptop now. It still works just fine for other purposes, right? But not for teaching because I need an updated system. But if this were not me and this were you, this is still a fine computer, right? So you as I always say, if this thing works for you, don't upgrade it. When I show you new things that you think I like that, I want that in my life, it's time to upgrade. Then yeah, if you have the finances and you want the ease that comes with newer stuff, connecting to your phone and to your iPad and all that kind of stuff, sure, it's time to upgrade, right? Yeah, Barbara is saying that he has three hard drives plugged in and 2 more that are unplugged. But yeah, so that comment, which is great, if you don't know how to handle files, you don't know yet how to do that, right? But once you finish this level 1 class, we will have figured out how to handle those files. And then you can have extra hard drives like Barbara has, or Rod has, or quite a few of you guys have, for all the extra stuff that you want to take off.
Does it slow down the computer call?
No, it's the other way around. Your computer with more space runs better. So again, one last thing I want to say about storage space, if you have a lot of space like I have here, your computer uses that random access memory that helps it run many things. It also it needs space. The more things you have running, more space it needs to run that stuff. So as you begin to fill up your computer and you're getting down here, your computer also begins to slow down because it has less and less space for it to work the operating system to do its work. It needs space to think. Like when you open an application, it has to open double of that space that's empty space, et cetera, et cetera. So as you begin to fill it up, it begins to get sluggish and you're thinking your computer's getting old. No, it's just getting too much stuff. So managing your files is what we're gonna do. So let me point you to this most wonderful little point, button here, it's called manage, right? So that button that's called manage is what we're going to head into right now, because that is, there's so many places to handle your files from. And I'm going to teach you quite a few of them, but this is the one that I'm going to start with. So click on manage and you end up with this thing that opens up. Okay. Now, on this computer, I have very few things. This is the school computer. And so notice that over here, I only have the word recommendations, and then I have applications, documents, and trash. I'm going to change my share to my laptop that has more stuff. And so here I have recommendations, applications, documents, iCloud Drive, photos, trash, other uses, system, other. So whatever you have here depends on what computer you have and how it's set up. Okay, so it's not like you'll have one thing, I have another thing. Some of you guys might have 20 other things. So I'm looking over Jeanette's trash. And so she also has messages and mail. And yeah, so trash. Well, it depends. Don't flash things necessarily. I'm gonna be walking with some stuff. And here you have some basic stuff. So yeah, so this is pretty surprising, right? When you look at this, you go, wow. I didn't know I had a lot of people here at school. What they're saying is, wow, I have so much stuff in my trash. I have a lot of stuff in my mail. I have a lot of, like I'm not showing that here, but people are saying that here in class from your computers. I haven't checked their here. Yeah, but no, don't get rid of anything, guys. Don't. Stop. Especially those of you at home who I can't look over your shoulders. Don't change anything yet. Okay, and this is something that I repeated so many times last session, last set of classes when I was at iCloud. First, learn, see the features, understand what's there, then begin to make choices. And so don't just suddenly go, oh, I don't need this. Stop, wait, you might not. What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage, right? Where's the good place to get rid of stuff? You will find, many of you have been through these classes before, that even though you cleaned it up once, now other junk is accumulated. So I'll teach you what's the junk, what's the good stuff. Suddenly a lot of stuff will disappear and you'll be like, oh, now I can leave my message if you want to leave them or not, et cetera, et cetera. So don't just make assumptions, okay? Please don't get rid of anything until you understand what you're getting rid of. So, and like I tell you, don't upgrade until you understand what you're upgrading to and that kind of thing. Yes. Martha?
Deanna,
1 second. Martha has a question here. 1 second.
If I want, not that I'm doing it right now, but if I wanted to get rid of my messages on my Mac, would that also take away from my iPhone messages?
Yes, so that's partly because
Okay.
you missed the first class. So did you guys hear Martha's question? And if you did, if not, I'll repeat it. Did you guys at home hear Martha's question?
no,
Basically, she said, if I get rid, she found a bunch of messages right here. And she says, that's when she said, oh, I'll get rid of them. And I went, wait. But her good question, she said, if I get rid of them from my computer here, will that get rid of them from your phone? Because these are your texts, right? So for those of you who sat through the last few classes, what's the right answer? I want a chorus here. Yes. Possibly, I would say when it's messages, 100%. If she deletes the ones from the computer, the phone ones will be gone because they are the same thing. Now, other things I might go, well, it depends if it's in the cloud or not, but messages are the one and the same. So if you are receiving them on your computer, they're the same ones as on the phone. That said, you can choose not to receive messages on your phone and then they'll get off your computer. But that's not the same as deleting them. So you have to treat different parts of this different. If you have files that you don't want, you delete them, they delete from your computer. And they only delete from your phone and stuff if they were in the cloud. I know for new people, this is kind of like, what you talking about? It's just that this is all conversations that we've been having So I'll help you catch up, but I'm also gonna ask you to start reviewing the older iCloud stuff, because there's so much there. It's 6 classes worth of stuff. But I'll give you the shorthand, I guess, version of it, so you understand what I'm talking about. So that's so for files, but for messages, it's different. It's an app that it connects to your phone number, and you can either text only on your phone and never use your computer, or you can use your computer to connect to that same number and text. It's not a different phone number. So you text from your computer, but it's the same text. So if you delete them on one, they delete on the other. Okay. So what you can choose is to not show them at all on your computer. And then if you never use your computer to text, that'll save you space on your computer. I personally do like text on my computer because I find that I can actually write on my computer fast versus I hate typing a lot of stuff on my phone. So when I'm working and a text comes in that I need to answer, I just go click and it goes out of a text, and I can do that versus on my phone. I don't know. That's one of I'm good at computers, but I'm never, ever going to equate kids who can go, their thumbs just fly. And next thing you know, they've written a whole story. And my son composes scripts when he's out on the streets, and he's a writer. And next thing I know, he's looking at that and he's written a whole script, and I can barely answer yes or no. Right?
Can you use the verbal?
Yes. So basically what I do is I dictate my texts. Yeah. So I'm going to show that. But anyway, so what I'm saying is I do like messages on my computer. So once you begin to know the nuances, you go, oh, okay, that's good. But if you're never sitting I work at my computer. If you don't work at your computer, how many texts are you going to answer on your computer? Probably not. Then is that a good idea to maybe disconnect the app, not delete the stuff so that stuff is on your computer? Yes. Okay. So that's the kind of thought process that you need to go through. And half of you will say yes, half of you say no. There's many different answers, and they're all correct as long as they work for you. Okay. So whatever you have here, my biggest request is do not right now get rid of anything. I will lead you through the next 6 classes, telling you when and where to delete, to get rid of, to disconnect, to not, so that we get your computer as up to speed as possible without losing that which matters to you. All right. And if you have a lot of space, you don't need to worry too much, but at least you know for when your computer does start to get full, what to worry about. So in your case, for example, Martha, you have so much space right now on your computer that you might as well not do anything about things that are not a problem, like messages, but make sure to get rid of stuff that are a problem, like old Husky, old applications, old junk, stuff in your truck, that kind of stuff. And then if you ever run into the problem 3 years down the line, go, oh, well, I still have my messages here. I discovered I use them a lot, or I never use them. So sure, let's get rid of them, right? That said, it's good to head it off. If you never text me on your computer, I haven't. So yeah. Rod?
Is there any way to keep messages? Is there any way to set up the file and keep your old text? Instead of just at the end of the day, I read the text and boom, now it's gone. My email, I can go and see my old email.
Yeah.
Is there any way to keep my messages where I can go back and
If
check?
you don't delete them, they're always there. You just need to scroll up and they time-wise. So they never disappear unless you delete them. So if I were to grab my messages right now and start scrolling up, since I only have on my phone 1 screen's worth, it keeps redrawing, and I can go all the way back to April if I keep going down, 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 but it's kind of uncomfortable. It's like I don't have a date that I can type in the date and see the text. So the thing about text and messages is that they're not good for important stuff precisely because of that. Like if my my director here tells me something, and Emma, we do this with Emma, sometimes we're in a hurry, we text each other, and then I go, what did Emma say about that in April when we were setting up the December classes? And I have to roll back to April. So for that, I like using my computer, because that actually is much faster. I can scroll all the way to April really fast versus on my phone. It takes 85 screen drawings to get to the text that Emma said in April. And I'm like, did I really say that? She's like, you told me to say it. I'm like, I didn't say that. Versus on an email, I can go back, see, Emma, I told you this, and I'm just because right now I have a weird schedule set up. And I'm like, Emma, why did you set that up? And she'll probably say, yes or no, and I can just scroll all the way back through my messages, right? I much rather email that kind of stuff, but when you do text that kind of stuff, which we do, I mean, suddenly it's Saturday, Emma has a question, and I send it to her, we're unfortunate workaholics, both of us. So I'll have to do that really uncomfortable stuff, but it's there. As long as I didn't delete it, the message is there. But, and I'm gonna stop because I'm not showing anything in particular right now, but this is very important. If in your messages, you receive photos or videos, and that's, I think, a conversation we had with Jeanette at the beginning of last class, and I told her how we're dealing with files in this class. When you send or receive a lot of photos or videos, that takes humongous amounts of space. So my mom, for example, would send me tons of photos and videos, all of it, the kind that go make the rounds, if you're lucky, if you haven't, if you're not one of the people who receive those, on the other hand, you might be the one that sends a lot of those. Trying to think, the 10 places you should visit before you die, or the poems of whatever, or, like, it's beautiful, but I don't have time to sit but mainly these things are huge. And once they land in your mail, in your phone or on your computer, they take up space. So once you've seen it and read it, when it's really important to you and it makes a difference, and this thing changed my life, keep it. And if it's a photo of your granddaughter, save it on your Photos app, but don't go and delete it from the message. Delete those videos, all those little things that people send you. If you delete them from the messages, they won't then be on your computer, on your phone, but they also won't be taking up extra space. So every once a month, I'll go back and I'll delete all the not necessarily junk, I didn't say junk, that my mom sends me, and keep the photos of herself, of the flowers in her garden, the personal stuff, but all the other stuff that's doing the rounds, I just delete, because that all sits and occupies space. And if you send 10 photos of your last birthday party to your friends, and they're still sitting in your computer because they are already in your computer with your other photos, then once you've sent them and other people have had a chance to see them, you can also delete them because you are replicating that space. Okay, so that's important for everyone. Delete from your messages anything that isn't truly the kind that you really, photos and videos, especially videos, that, it's fine to keep 20 photos, but 20 videos, that's crazy. That fills up your computer, right? So clean it up. Yes, Jeanette.
That shoots off so many questions. I send a lot of news articles to people as attachment. So that's taking up space. I don't know how to not send something. It's texting people, it's the same person, and I have all these different texts sent. I don't know.
We're going to talk about sharing files. When you share files and you share a link that's online for them to read it, that doesn't take up space. But I have a student here who isn't here today, who scans his newspaper and sends me scans all the time. And I'm like, well, thanks, but no thanks, because I don't need to be receiving so many scans all the time. So I'll check them out and then I'll delete them. Not because they're not interesting. Every now and then there's an interesting one, I'll keep it, but that's all files that I don't need. So the more you keep them sitting in your mail, this applies to mail and messages. So if you get a lot of mailed stuff, that's also sitting in your space that you don't need, get rid of it. Now, careful, don't get rid of important stuff, your taxes, your invoices, that kind of stuff. But if it's something you've read and done with, consider beginning to send links to articles. Like find the link to the website that has that article and send them the link to that website, and then they can click on that link and they'll go to that website and read it. But when you send them scans or photos or snippets, those occupy the space of photos and videos, and those are heavy for you and for them, right? So anyway, I don't know if that's an answer, but if you want to go back to your texts and delete them, you can. And do I have messages set up here? It's funny because I teach you so many different things. And by the way, those of you who have just joined us in class, you don't know that, but I show a lot of the work on my phone. Let me share my screen. This is also a school phone. So for this part, you guys here have to look at your screens again because I'm sharing my phone, but it's on your computer screens. So if I open up the messages right here, then, sorry, this is, see, I haven't used the messages in this phone much, so it's when you first use it up, it tells you, remember, we set up all of this. We set up all of this last session. We did all the notifications. We did a whole bunch of work with all of this. So here I've not opened messages. So it's saying, do you want to have these shared when using Focus? Remember we talked about that? Like when I am using Focus and I have the time silenced, do I still want to receive the messages or not? Do I want to receive a notification of the message? So I'm going to go ahead to allow it and I'm going to say, okay, or don't allow. So you get the choice. And if you don't like the choice you made, you can then go and change it. For those of you who aren't in this class, we spent hours on all of these kind of settings for privacy and stuff like that. So this is a phone number. That's a school phone number that's set up just for this phone. So no one really calls it. Sorry. But I guess it looks like I received something today at the top, which is obviously, these are obviously spam because no one has this number. So whatever's in here is how do you call it, is spam. I'm going to click on one of them. And how do I get rid of this? Say that if I don't want it and I really don't want it. If you don't want the entire conversation, you can put your finger here on it and just slide to the right and you can say delete. But if you had your mom who's sending you stuff, you don't want to delete the entire conversation because every single thing she sent you for the last 10 years will disappear. So this is only when it's a pure spam. This is like, oh, this is pure spam. Move to the right, hit delete. I leave it here because I need to have a sample and I have so few messages at this phone that I leave it as a sample. But what if instead it's, if you go in and you want, so this one is back and forth, right? What if you want to get rid of just this one video that you got sent or something like that, right? So you want to get rid of one thing. If I click on this, I get rid of everything. But if I just want to get rid of this one, I can also push, hold on. This is kind of interesting because you don't want to click on any link, okay? So this is on your phones and I'll show you on the phone. So you want to click on the part that's not a link, okay? And hold, right? And so then it tells you, oh, do you want to send it to someone? Hit the more. So anyone who has a phone here, go to a message that receives something that you don't want, hit more. And then when you do that, here you have a little trash can. So then you can get rid, and then if you have more things, you can click. So what I do to things like my mom, I'll scroll through all of the 10 things she just sent me and I'll check mark all the ones that are videos that are chain mails and stuff like that. And then when I'm done, I'll hit the little trash can down here. So basically you can turn this on. You have 10 messages and 3 you want to keep, but 2 you don't. You click on that and I only have 1 here, but you can keep clicking on the ones that you don't want. And then at the end you hit the trash can and you want to delete those. You say, yep, delete message. So then the person, so say this is my mom, doesn't disappear. I have all the rest of their messages. I just don't have that one anymore. Does that make sense? So, and then you go back and that person still exists, right? So here it seems like I sent myself a couple of messages here. So this is an example that if I were to want to, this is not myself, this is me sending this phone. This phone is a phone number that's a school number. So it would seem that Diana Musacchio sent these photos. If I want them, fine. If I don't, so here's an example of 2 things. I can click and hold. And then, as I said, this little menu pops up and you need to go to the more. And the more right there, everything. So here's an example of I want that one, but not that one. I choose which one I want. So I either want to delete both or want to delete only one or don't want to delete any. See how this thing went gray. If I don't want to delete any, both, or no, I don't want to delete any of these, cancel. So I keep having all my texts.
I both, but I didn't know what the reason was. I'm glad to know.
Yeah, so that's how you would do it on the phone. Now, normally I can show you things on computers, and on phones. But the problem is that in this, in school, the computer is not connected to a phone number. And I guess I could set up the school phone number on my laptop. So I can show you same thing, and then I can probably give some of you guys, I could ask people to send me stuff to my school number so that I can show you how to delete stuff. It's the only thing I've never been able to show, because I can't put my personal phone number on these computers and then have everyone see my personal text. So this one's a little bit weird, but now that I have a school number, I can probably set it up. But anyway, if this were the school stuff, it's the same. You basically can delete it from your messages app on your phone individually and only get rid of the big videos or the big photos. Yeah.
The difference between edit and what you were just showing us is that you can keep part of the text message versus edit.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of, say that you and I text all the time. If I delete the entire conversation, I lose years of text. And if you're just doing occasional text, who cares about these years of text? Because you only want to set up the next time that we meet for lunch. But if it's like Emma, that I need to keep track of stuff we said because it's work and I just don't want to forget, or if it's my mom, I want to keep the messages she sends me. I don't want to delete the entire person. What I go in is I delete the individual stuff that I don't need, right? So she'll send me a little heart, and it's cute, but it takes up a lot of space. I'll get rid of it. When she sends me a video, I'll get rid of it. She sends me photos of the flowers just rained on her dinner table, I'll keep that. It's her, you know what I mean? So I just nuance what I keep or what I don't keep. That's all. Because, you know, you got to be careful with your space. So for those of you who have messages showing up here, and now I'm going to share this screen again. So for those of you who see messages here, this is not the place to delete them. And in fact, let me go, can I go to one of you guys who doesn't see messages? This is where it is good to have. It shows you here the messages. Let me, does someone at home who have messages, can you share their screen? Because the people here who are on their own computers, I haven't asked them to put on their own computers their Zoom. So they can't share their ones here, but at home, I'm sure some of you guys have messages. Can you do a share so I can show you a good way to delete messages? I won't go into your messages. I'll show you how to delete. No?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Said yeah.
Carol did.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out.
Carol's going to share her screen so that the whole class can see that. That's a good reason to have your guys' laptops connected for the whole class to see something that I can't demo. I don't have every sample of everything on my computer. All right, so here's Carol. Can you go click on your messages? Okay, so now see over here. This is the beauty of this managing your files. This is showing you, she's got 8.25 gigabytes worth of messages, right? And then when you look at the right, it's showing you the files, and notice that at the very top it says MOV, because the way she has it set up already is by size, and we probably did this in class before. So look at can you move your mouse up to where it says the word name? Like move it up 1/2 inch. No, not your stuff, but move your mouse actually a whole inch up above.
Here?
Put your mouse where it was before.
Yeah.
Okay, and now 1/2 inch up onto that gray bar. Keep going up. Yeah, that gray bar in front. It says name, last accessed, and size. Down. Right above these names, it's
Yeah.
there
There's
you go,
name.
name. Perfect. When you click on the word name, see how now all of the stuff organized itself by alphabetical order. Not alphabetical order, but alphanumeric order. So numbers go first, then you start with A. So she's got like 3, 4, 7, 9, 10, right? If you look at on the right, it says last access. Keep moving to the right where it says name, keep moving to the right. It says last access. So click on last access. There you go. So this is by alphabetical order when you last access them. these two are interesting or not, the one that really matters here is size. So go click on size, which is to the right. There you go. And now it shows you top to bottom, how much space these things take. And here we discovered that she has a movie in her messages that takes up 50 megabytes. That's humongous for a movie. The next one is 42, the next one 33. So these are big files. So if you want to go, but I don't know what this movie is it worth deleting or not? Well, go ahead and when it's selected, the top one has been selected, hit your space bar right now. The space bar is a very quick way of doing a preview. And that is the movie that you are seeing. Now hit your space bar again and it'll go down. If you've never seen it and you don't know what it is, you can watch the whole thing and you go, this is really important to me. I don't care that it's 50 megabytes. So you go, oh, this is junk. This is one of those chain mails. Let me get rid of it. Right? So you go down and I don't want to have you show too many more of these, but I want you to show because these are your personal things. So I don't necessarily want us to be involved in them, but look at the last access. The last time you accessed was August 21, August 2021. Doesn't matter. If it's the most important person to you, who cares if the last time you accessed it was August 2021? You want to keep it versus if you might have seen it yesterday and it's junk, then get rid of it. So say that you were to delete it, and I'm not telling you to delete it. If you discover this is not important to you, then since it's selected, see how at the bottom right, it says delete? You could go and hit delete from here and get rid of it. Now, please, I'm not saying you should or not delete it. Be very careful because once you delete it from here, it's gone from your phone and your computer. Okay, guys? It's gone from the entire system. So then, but this is a good way to check on stuff. Go click again on another one of these. 2 down, it says MP4. MP4 is just sound. Or no, it can be movie too. This is another movie. It's a different kind of movie. So this one is, again, you hit, again, this is private, so I don't want you to have to, I just want to remind you that how you see these things is hitting, a quick preview is hitting the space bar. Now scroll down a bunch now, and let's see if we get to a place at the very top, of course, is movies, because since you asked to see things by size, now there you go, you're done with movies, now you start getting JPEGs. So look at the difference. Here's a big JPEG. It's just click on the first one. You don't need to show it, but click on it so people see what I mean by that. Select it. You go to the right to the size, that's 12 megabytes. For a photo, that's still really big. I mean, when you click your phone, grab your phone and take a picture, it's probably 1 or 2 megabytes. So 12 megabytes, it's possible that this is from a camera that takes many more pixels than a phone can or something like that. So if you have no idea what it is, spacebar, look at it and go, oh yeah, that's an orchid. That's my mom's prized orchid that she won a prize when. You want to keep it. But if you go, oh, that's a photo of, you know, some celebrity that my mom laughed at and sent me, delete. You know what I mean? So this is a good way to not have to go into your phone and scroll back through the whole conversation you ever had with your mom to delete the bad stuff. Come here and start from the top to bottom. Get rid of the biggest. So you'll get rid of one big photo is 12 megabytes. One regular photo is 1 megabyte versus the top movie was 40 megabytes. So you get rid of one photo, that's 1 megabyte versus one movie is equivalent to 40 of those photos, right? So that's why you want to look at these things and delete from top to bottom by size. See them by size, but delete them by importance. Who cares if it's 100 megabytes if this is the last video you have of your beautiful dog who passed away? But delete it if it's unimportant. Yeah.
Deanna, why did some JPEGs, why are some JPEGs so large?
It could be that, well, you did open it. Do you recognize it? Is it yours?
I do. It's mine.
Okay. So it could be that you worked on it. I'm trying to think, why is it so big? What did you put? It's a DSC. So did you take it with a
Probably my Nikon.
What's that?
My Nikon.
My Nikon, I was going to say with one of your big cameras with the, I was trying to say the DSLR. So your DSLR takes photos that have many more pixels than your phone does. So that it might be a raw file. I don't know. No, JPEG is not a raw file. It's JPEG. No. So every single photo that comes with your Nikon is going to be really big. So you need to consider it more. Now, that's my reminder that we have 15 more minutes for class. So if that photo that you just showed us is unique and near and dear, this is important. If you took it and sent it, you should still have it in your Photos app or, you know, wherever you save these photos. So you don't need it
Okay.
here as well.
Okay,
If
gotcha.
someone sent it to you and you want to keep it, then you need to download it into your computer. But if you sent it out to someone and you already have it in your computer, you don't need it here as well. Does that make sense? So this is
Yes.
like if those videos that you up there that are so big, ones that you sent, just
Uh-huh.
confirm to start with, go to your Photos app. She's been in my Photos app class. So if anyone who's taking photos, I teach a whole class of just photos. Go confirm that it's still in your Photos app. And if it's still in your Photos app, delete it from here. If these are all things you sent, now if people sent them to you, this is
Gotcha.
if they, and you haven't downloaded them into your computer, this is where they are. But if you've sent them out, confirm once or twice, and you'll see that just because you share them, they don't leave your computer. Thus, you can delete them all from here. If you delete them from here, they'll also delete from your phone and your computer. But if someone has already downloaded it on their site, it doesn't, you don't affect their computers. But if they scroll back in their history later to see that video that you sent once of, you know, Aunt Polly, it won't show up in their messages anymore. So you want them to have already downloaded it if it's important to them. So whatever's online will stop being accessible now, but if they've downloaded it, they already have it. You can't delete it from their computers. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But you are taking it out of your message thread, so they can't scroll back to go find it because you're about to delete it. But you still have it on your computer, then who needs it sitting here in the messages, right? Messages is a place where a lot of space gets hidden of stuff that you've sent that you don't need anymore. And that's why last access, you look at the time, if you sent it in 2021, there's one here that you sent 12/30/2020. Now you could have sent it or they could have sent it, but like your fourth one up from 2020, 2 years ago. So December 30th, so it's probably a New Year's photo or something like that. Is it valid? Is it important to have it? It's 32 megabytes. Maybe it's a New Year's celebration.
Mhm.
If you still have it, fine. If you don't, get rid of it.
Okay, thank you.
Don't have it, okay? So this is a really good one, place to get rid of a lot of space by starting with size, okay?
How do you get to that?
Stop
Okay, so
share.
this is this is not on your phone, this is on your computer. On your phone, you have, and go to your computer. Thank you so much, Carol, for sharing that. Don't stop the share if you mind for a minute.
Oops, too late. I'll share again.
Yeah, so I'm looking over here at Jeanette's computer. She has 12 gigabytes worth of messages. So here, go to size, let's get overviews by size. And see, you have you have a 40 megabyte photo, video there, 41 there. So click on it. Yeah, click on it and then hit your space bar.
I love these.
So put that down. So if you love it and you want it, I can show you how to keep those in your Photos app. Yeah, but they live in your Photos app. So if this is yours, and those were your photos, it's in your Photos app. You don't need it twice. So from your Photos app, you can save it in your Photos app, right? And not have to have it. It just looks like you sent it to someone. So then they received it, they looked at it or not, but it doesn't need to be here twice as long as it's still in your Photos app. Well, there's so many we would have to go look at. I don't show that today, but it should be one of these. There it is. I don't, it's on this day now. I don't know. Yeah, so depending on which one it is, if you really love one, you save it here because these disappear. So then I'll show you how to save one and here when you do the take the photos file. Okay, so anyway, I was showing sorry, so that's me not. So that is something that you shared that memory.
And to increase the size. You just.
And then you can see, okay, so,
121,
what's that?
I have 124 in my messages.
That's a lot of
121
use.
what?
So I have a lot.
121 megabytes. Yeah, but consider that your biggest video here is 39 megabytes. That's half of it. The rest of it is pretty small. And then you have a 16 meg, but the rest are tiny. So the most you can get if you get out of this is 121 megabytes versus over here, Jeanette has 12 gigabytes. Okay, so megabytes, let me be clear, what's a megabyte? Megabyte is under this, so 1,000 megabytes equals 1 gigabyte, okay? So megabytes not very clear, equals 1 gigabyte. So if you have 125 gigabytes and 12 gigabytes are used up by messages that you don't need, not the ones that you, it's fine that you need some, then that's a big chunk of space. If you have 12 gigabytes but your hard drive has 1,000 gigabytes, well, maybe it's not such a big proportion, but when you're running out of space, why not cut that in half? Get 6 only that you really need to keep, and the other 6 you can get rid of. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is a great place. Now be careful. Once you delete them from here, they're gone from your messages. So make sure that this is something that you don't want. Or, and I just showed Jeanette, let me see if I have anything in the photos here. So just to be clear, well, I can't right now. Carol is sharing. So
You want me, I can stop.
Okay, so no, but hold on.
No, okay.
There's something else that this messages shows. So can you click on one of these for a second? Just click on the top one again, since it's the one they already clicked on the top file. Yeah, that one.
Mhm.
So I told you that you can go to the bottom right to delete if you want to delete it, right? But go down to where it says delete, but look at the left. It also says show in Finder. So it's like, do you want to find where this is? Now, this one's a bit tricky. So only those of you who are comfy, and if you're just taking the class for the first time, you're probably not comfy with file management yet, right? But let me have Carol demo this, but don't delete anything, but go ahead and click and show in Finder for a second. Because what it's gonna do, it's gonna, oh, you're not sharing your Finder window, it's not showing it. You need to, here, I'll stop this share, and can you share your Finder window for a second? I stopped your messages share. I put Carol through her paces. She's taking classes forever. She's really good at sharing. So
Oh, yeah, right.
thank you. Or you can show your entire desktop and then.
No.
So it took her to this place. This Finder window is it's sharing where that file is. No, this isn't what this wouldn't have been what it opened. It would have taken you. Huh. This is the window that opened up?
Yep.
Okay. So basically it's taking you to your home folder. This is a home folder. I'll be teaching you about this. So you don't know about this yet. So you know what? Just forget it for now. Forget the Find in Finder. Once you know more about all your folders, that Find in Finder will be useful. Right now, it's not useful. So you know what? Forget about that because I don't want to get people in trouble yet. You will, by the end of this class, understand that folder. But for most of you, it's still, I used to say Chinese, but then some people understand Chinese. So for most of you, this is a foreign language that you don't understand. All right. So again, now I'm going to share mine. Anything that you see in here, we're going to be parsing it out. We're going to be understanding what's here. But as much as she just showed you messages that I don't have, you still do have things like documents. And right now I have, when I click on, we're going to be working with these the next week, right? Not next week. I always say next week to next class for new people.
Thursday.
I always kind of say next
Thursday.
week. I just mean next time we meet. So I'm sorry, I'm a mess about that. So next Thursday, which is only 2 days away, we're going to be working with this. And when you go to documents, same thing, we're going to find a lot of stuff, and you'll see though that this is already divided by large files or downloads or unsupported apps or file browsers. So we're going to talk about all of that, what this means. But mainly, if you want to begin to have an idea, you can look at large files and see which files are large, and I can already see that I have a whole 125 megabyte video here. So then that, in that case, do you really want to keep it or not? Depends, we'll talk about that. So, but don't delete stuff yet, because I'd rather first show you in a better way and in a different way how to find your stuff. But the one thing I do want to say, do go to your trash and see what's there. And if these are truly things that you don't want, then delete them. Again, hold on to something and hit the space bar and it'll tell you. Now, in this case, if you don't know what it is, and this is part of this class, it used to be that I had people have them in front of them, but when people were here, I had to tell them, go home, take a picture of that, come back. Now you guys are at your computers, so you don't need to go home. But what I want you guys is to do that work where you click on something and you don't know what it is. And so here in downloads, I have, so like over here, I have some files, right? Our files, our computer files, our computers don't have files yet. But you'll see, if you go to applications, doesn't let you delete anything other than anything you've downloaded. So it doesn't let you access from here any of the Mac apps that you might want to get rid of. Like I don't play chess. Do I need chess? Well, you can't delete it from here. But Google Chrome is added on and Zoom US is added on. They're not apps that come with the computer and that I could delete from here. But I have also the Adobe stuff that I can't delete from here. So this is basically any extra stuff. So find in here, there's stuff that you haven't used since, 2017. You go, why do I have an app here that I'm using since 2017? You might want to consider that. You might want to select it and look at it and go, what is this app even? And hit delete and stuff like that. So of course I wouldn't delete Zoom US, but you might find other gunk there, and applications take up a lot of space. So that's a place where you can save some things, okay? Now, we're gonna keep talking about this, but don't get rid of too much stuff that you can't spare. Just review it and then have questions for me. We're gonna be careful. These are permanently erased, okay? These are not fixable. So I'm going to stop my share. We're going to explore this much further. So for now, only if it's something you're pretty clear that this is absolute junk, then use that and go ahead and delete stuff and begin your process of cleanup. But I'll be walking you through it much more. So if there's any even doubt or question, don't. Or if you go, this one says zip, what is a zip file? Write down the question, zip file. So on Thursday I go, did you guys find things that you have no idea what they were? Let's look at that extension, and that extension, the .zip, .zip, that's what tells me what file it is. .mov tells me it was a movie. .mp4 told me it was a movie. .jpeg tells me it's a photo. So that extension at the end of the name tells me what it is. So write down the extensions. I don't care what it says in front. That's just a name given by someone. But what extension is it? Then I can tell you then I can at least tell you what it is, and then you can know whether you need to delete it or not. Okay. Barbara, your hand has been up for a while. Is it because of, is it a new question or is it from before?
Yeah, well, it's a question.
Okay.
When I go to applications on my computer, I see messages. It doesn't show that I have any in there, but if I double click.
Let me stop you. Good point. Hold on. Let me share this other computer. The reason I couldn't show you applications in the other computer is because this user didn't have access to that, but this complete does. So in applications here, I do see 62 gigabytes of all my applications. If I go to messages here under applications, okay, I go to the M, let me see. This computer doesn't have messages set up, so it's not there. So it's not there, okay, because it's not working. But if you find it here, this is just the application. You don't want to get rid of the application messages. Where you want to find messages, to find your individual messages, is here under messages. Now, if you don't see it, it's because you don't have your messages set up on your computer. You can't text on your computer. So if you don't have it here, it's fine, but don't look for it under applications. Under applications is
is the application, the message application itself. Does that make sense? Like if I were to
Yes.
get rid of Zoom, I can't Zoom with this computer anymore. If I get rid of Google Chrome, I don't have it anymore. So don't get rid of messages from here. Rather, in here, if one of the choices is messages, that means that your computer, like documents, these are files that are in documents. If you have messages, that means that you are collecting messages on your computer. So anyone who never saw messages on their computer, it's because you're not using that. Your computer never got set up and you maybe didn't even know that you could text on your computer.
Well, if I go to applications and I go to messages and I double click on it, my messages that are on my phone show up.
Okay, so you do have it running.
Mhm.
So you know what, guys, I want to acknowledge that it's 12:16. So the class is technically over. So anyone who needs to leave, please go ahead and leave. Anything I say right now, I answer some questions, but I do my best to not teach anything new. Although of course, answering her question might give us some new information. So always check the last 10 minutes of recording if you want to see if there's something to be learned there. But I'll see you guys on
Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, so if you need to sign out, that's fine. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and Barb, can you share your screen to show me what
Deanna?
we're talking about?
Yes.
Deanna, if you could kindly move your head so I could finish writing what's on the board
Oh.
behind you, and then I can leave.
There
Thank
go.
you. I can't see it.
And you still can't see it?
No, I can't see the blackboard.
Yeah, here, let me,
It's real quick. I'm just at the end now.
I'll take a picture of it with my phone and then share that. So hold on. I have so many different handouts in my I have so many different handouts, but I don't think I have this one. So here, I'll share that photo with you on screen. And I'm gonna stop you for a second, Barb, and you can share
Sure.
again. I want to share this because it's part of the class. So let me share this photo. There, can you see that now?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
So at the top, that squiggle says 1000 megabytes, MB equals 1 gigabyte. It's not very clearly written. And then I go on to say how many gigabytes. So just translating the top one, which I scribbled really quickly because it was almost too high for me. 1000 MBs is 1 gigabyte. And then 1000 gigabytes is 1 terabyte.
What about the files to download?
Okay, so you guys downloaded them. So they're
Yeah.
there in the downloads folder.
Where are they?
Yeah, so next
Okay,
Thursday, when we open our downloads folder, okay, we'll find them.
okay. perfect.
What is the word for TB?
Terabyte, TER. R? I think it's double R.
No, just TB.
It's terabyte.
Terabyte?
It's not the illness. It's not tuberculosis. Terabyte.
Okay. I'll look it
Terabyte,
up.
gigabyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte. I'm driving, I'm having a moment. Is it with 2 R's or 1 R? I'm,
That's okay. I can look it up. Thank you so much. See
You're
you
welcome.
Thursday.
you're welcome. All right. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are here in school, don't forget to bring me your name tags and put them here. That way you don't have to remember bringing them back. They just end up here. And if someone, I think Maria left it back there, could someone bring me Maria's? And no, she left it there because I used to have the roster there, but now I put it here. So she's accustomed to how it used to be. All right. Okay,
Deanna,
so Barb,
yeah, excuse me, I need to leave, but will the recording be on tonight from today?
yeah, I'll do my best to have it on relatively soon. So I have to, anyway, it takes quite a while to process it, but it should be on by tonight, yes.
Okay, thank you
Maybe
very
even-
much.
Maybe even sooner. When I stay working here in this classroom, I've been able to put it up in a few hours. When I go home, it takes till tonight, yeah.
Thank you.
Process over there. All
Thank
right.
you. See you Thursday.
No, that's fine. Thanks. Okay, so Barb, you were saying that you do see your messages actually on your computer, right?
When I go to the Finder and then I go to messages, when I double click it, my phone messages come up.
Yes, so you do see your messages, so you are using your messages. So your question is that, but it's not showing there under storage? Manage, is that? what's
I
happening?
don't know what my question is now.
All right, so let's do this. Share your, I see, so you're using your messages. Got it. So you don't need to share your messages out. Now, what app, what do you have? Catalina, Monterey, what do you have?
I don't know why I can never
Sure.
remember it.
Okay, go to the map, go to the.
Overview, Mac, Monterey.
Monterey. Okay, so can you choose that, open up Mac, about this Mac, open that up and then share your screen and just share that with me. Okay, so now go up to the top to where it says, yeah, and that one says go to storage. And now go to that word manage on the right side. Yeah. Okay, so there is where, there on the left side, you have messages. That's where we've been. Yeah, click on that. And you
Click on
have 170 megabytes worth of messages. And so this is showing you the messages and it's kind of scrolled down. If you scroll to the very.
Yeah, they're all, most all pictures from
Yes,
the kid.
scroll all the way to the, now you're at the bottom, like you're in the smallest ones, but scroll in the other direction. And those are your biggest ones. So you have one video there that's 34 megabytes. Then you have 22, then the rest are smaller and the rest are photos, which are, 5 megabytes, 3 megabytes, whatever. So obviously the one that takes up the most space is the top one. So check that one out to see if it's worth keeping or not. Click on it and hit the space bar.
Whoops.
Oh, click on it and hit the space bar again. Oh, it hit escape. Just leave it, hit escape. Yeah. Now hit the space bar.
Oh, God. That's from a grandkid.
Cool. So if you want it, great. And if you don't want it, then
No,
you can delete it. So hit the little X. Yeah, and then that X again. Or click that, you can click this window again because you didn't really, not just, yeah, but I'm trying to show you, you can delete it from here, but I'm trying to show you.
Oh,
from-
okay.
Because
From
if you
where?
delete it from here, it goes into your trash. Close this little window. Go back to the manage. And if you delete it from the manage, so it's on your right, yeah, that one, then it deletes completely. It doesn't go sit in your trash, which is dangerous because you can't recover it. You have to be sure you want it. If you delete it for your Finder, it goes into your trash. Here, if you hit delete, it'll just completely disappear.
Well, just delete it. I hate
Sure
Halloween.
you want to delete it? Yeah, boom. So you just. delete
Most
it.
people like Halloween and I hate it. I hate masks and I hate all that ghouly stuff.
Yeah. So
I'm
now,
terrible. Well, I've got you. Check this picture out. This is the road my daughter lives on.
yeah.
I want to go see her so bad.
Aw, nice.
I just
So
ran
beautiful.
across it.
That looks very beautiful.
It is. It does.
Where is
Right
that?
now,
Is it in the
she
East- is it
just
in the
took
East
these.
Coast? Is it in the East Coast?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. All right, so yeah, so that would be a photo you don't want to lose for sure. So you want to right click and save it on your photo. Like you want, go to that photo in your messages. And then do a right click. And then say add to photos library. And then that's kept. So once you add it to your photos library, right? Save photo. Now you have it twice in your computer. So now you can actually delete it from here. Because now you have it in your messages as well as in your photos library. So now you can right click and delete, right? Because you have saved it. So go down to delete. And now you're getting rid of it from the messages app, but you've saved it in your photos app. Does that make sense?
But it's really funny. When I went in here, I found those two photos, but on my phone, I only found the one. So that's cool.
Oh, there you go.
But I have, if you have time, I have a really quick question.
Okay, quick, yeah.
You have a Wacom tablet, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
where do I go to watch some videos on how to use it? I've had it for months and I just,
Probably YouTube. I think does Wacom, the Wacom has product support. I don't know if it has videos on. how
they
to-
do, but not, there's, I didn't find one for this tab, this one.
The one that you have. I would think
Yeah.
YouTube is the best place for how-to videos. Go to YouTube and write the model Wacom tablet that you have. There's every single how-to in the world is on YouTube right now that I can think of. Or you can do a Google search and it'll click you to a link to something in YouTube. Like you can do a Google search and see all the different choices, all of which will be on YouTube. And it'll give you videos, you know, every single person who is anyone is putting out how-tos videos on YouTube. So I'm sure you'll find something there. When you're in my Photoshop or Illustrator class, I can show you some of the basics of it, but I can't go deeply into it because.
Right, I need to get that program on my computer. Somebody got into my checking account. I've been battling for
What program on your computer? Wacom or? YouTube?
Illustrator.
Oh, Illustrator, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But I've just been dealing with my money matters. I've bank and I'm having to change everything.
Okay.
Email addresses and checking accounts and
Wow.
they got all my money.
Oh my God.
Somebody in Florida. I got it back, but
I'm
it's
so
just
sorry to
so
hear that.
nobody's been paid this month, you know, and
But is it through, did someone get in through your computer or?
they got into my email supposedly, and they got into my checking account. And I don't know how, because I really don't have my password. I don't have in my email.
I'm
You
just
know,
saying
my
because
check-
I'm just saying because I have had years of teaching this and I have not had any personal report of all the hundreds of people who passed my classes of people getting into their accounts. And this week I've heard of 2. You just said that, and someone that I met at a
Well, since it happened to me, I've heard it
that
to other
happened to their
people.
friends. And so I'm like, wait, when you get 2 reports in 1 week, I'm wondering what's happening. Suddenly it's I need
Somebody's
to know.
really working on it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, how did it happen? You think through email?
But now they can, I don't know if they can get into my email. I get stuff from B of A into my email, but there's no passwords or anything.
Well, I've been getting a lot of stuff from a BOA account that I can tell is fake, but I researched it, and so maybe it's very good, and so people are getting messed up with that because it looks very real. But something gave it away, and I looked into it, and but I've been getting it, so I'm wondering if it's just it used to be easy to tell. Now
Well, then I don't
That
search
makes sense.
the
That's
web,
hard.
and I don't, give out my email, to.
Anyway, when we get to emails, I'll keep showing how to check if it's a legit email or not, the address. I think you were in class when I showed that. But yeah, it's still really.
I missed it.
Okay, I'm
Thank
gonna stop sharing and leave the class now, and yeah.
See you on Thursday.
Okay, bye Vera, bye Barbara.
Thanks, bye.
I was gonna say EDD does send you stuff from B of A because they send you the money.
Yeah, that what I had to do, I did it, I'm gonna take my card, ADD card, and go to the versity machine and see if there's anything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might be bogus.
Yeah.
And I can go in and ask them if they had some hits on. Thank you. For how you manage everything. This must be crazy, maybe. Like you go out of here drained, right?
Yeah, it's getting better. The first set of classes, I was
Well, I think that was those technical issues.
Yeah,
until
I'm
those
getting,
got-
today, I'm not, today, even though there were many more people in the class, I'm less exhausted than other days. So I guess I'm beginning to figure it out.
You have to, so, well, I ran in there after I did that little survey. And I tried to find Emma, but she'd love her. She said, tell her how wonderful. So we're looking.
Thank you so much for being so sweet.
She was already gone.
Well,
Everything else.
everything helps, yes. They,
And I brought
not to
you-
say
I
that
brought you
it's,
up
not to
on
say that it's unnecessary. They know that I'm awesome, so to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
but that doesn't matter. Because no matter how many times, and I'm just saying they know I'm awesome, because a lot of people praise me and whatever, so they've heard it, but that doesn't mean that you want to say, oh, don't say it anymore because they've heard it. Because I hear it, but they don't,
But
like,
you
I
need
hear
some
people
fresh-
praising
you
me,
need
but they
some
don't hear it.
fresh stuff.
And it's been a long time, and it's good for them to remember, because when I ask for stuff like a computer, they hear, oh, people are very happy. So it's always good to keep reminding them that I'm still awesome.
And I take a meditation class and I put my breath in, it's like I'm calm and I'm confident. That's what I used in meeting with a friend that wanted to test me. And also, I didn't use it today, but if I get stressed, that's my mantra. Breath in, I'm calm, breath out. I'm confident.
That's great.
So whatever.
Whatever, yeah, you need it to. What works for you, and it was good though that you shared with me how nervous you were, because today at one point I saw you getting flustered and I remembered that you had said that. So I just
I
said,
did get flustered. It's like, I could do this because I didn't know if I was supposed to have one on what.
yeah, I would, at the beginning, it was very crazy because I had everyone on different,
And then
on
I started
different,
thinking I
um,
needed to go on to my screen to do what you were telling them to do, and I thought, oh my gosh. So thanks for picking up on that fear.
but see, had you not shared, you could have been one of the ones that walks out and never comes back. So it's also, it's a two-way. Some people don't want to, but you shared with me how stressed you were. And so I just saw that happening. Not always aware, there's so many people happening, but obviously I picked up on it. And so I was able to speak to that.
Dude.
I do my best. Do you mind closing the door when you're done? When you leave?
don't
Thank
mind.
you. Bye.
You want more light or you okay?
No, it's fine. I don't need the screen. Thank you.